We live, we lit. You don't want to miss this. Y'all, Faise, get him in the building, y'all. It's long. Hotel. Peace.
And the ancestors are looking out for us. God Hayes is exposing them, man.
Okay, you see that chair right there? See how big it is?
Yeah.
Now look at the Pope chair under it. Scroll down, look at the Pope chair under
Never have it been made so clear.
Young TV. Young.
We running the game right now.
Young TV.
Time to take over.
Young
We the hottest in the game. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. If you just not tuned in.
TV.
Share, like on your Instagram, Facebook.
Young TV.
If you tuned in, we broadcasting live from 2030, baby.
Young TV. Young
Taking over the game, baby. Oh yeah.
Young TV.
Hit that like.
Young TV.
Get them likes up in the air, you heard me?
Young TV.
Ride by. Hotel Islam.
Young TV.
Assalamu alaikum. Flown lesson. Peace.
Young
Be unto you.
TV.
Hit that like.
Hey, Robot, peace and love and harmony, y'all. As always, we got Faise backstage. Getting ready to come out, y'all. It's about to be good. Close encounters of the fourth kind. You know what I'm saying? You heard of close encounters of the third kind. This is close encounters of the fourth kind. Right? So we're gonna be getting into some exclusive stories. We gotta warm the stage up before Faise come on. Hey, make sure you share this and subscribe and like. While we're waiting on Faise to come on, let's show you this flyer. Right? Hey, y'all. Peace. Let's show you this flyer, y'all. Hit that like. We see they coming in, y'all. Islam, Rabat. If you coming in, Faise got 10 books that he authorized and wrote himself, and he sell the books himself, right? Through Cash App. What you would do is you would send him a Cash App, leave your emails in the little links in the descriptions. His Cash App is Play for Change. So keep that in mind if you want to get those 10 books by Faise, right? Okay, we wanted to just make that quick announcement while we giving them time to get in here. I'm telling you, man, this right here, water. This water right here, this is some good water. This is some good water. If y'all know about y'all out here in the A to be getting this water, y'all know what time it is. That's some good water right there. I'm telling you, they taxing though. Hey, hold on, let me do this. While waiting on Faise, yeah, because I'm gonna do a separate tape called Getting Attacked by Reptilians, because I got attacked by reptilians when I was younger. 3 or 4 times they tried to take me out. The reptilians. They tried to drown me. They tried running my car off the road head on with a diesel truck. Right? And they tried to get me to jump. off of top of a building. Yeah, so it was like, it's a lot of y'all probably had the different experience. Well, you had experience with extraterrestrials. Here come the number one guy, ladies and gentlemen. Now I bring it to the stage. Phase
Roll
One.
back. Roll back. Roll back.
Phase, hey man, you look different your time. Your ass be shade shifted, boy. I'm telling you. Hey, yeah, we live tonight, man. This right here is encounters of the fourth kind, man. And people was wondering because you was talking about the extraterrestrials. You was talking about calling the ships down. You got a whole bunch going on. You can go anywhere with this extraterrestrial thing. So where you want to get started at? We'll take questions in a minute, but where you want to get started? Because people want to hear your story about you getting abducted and about you going through the ceiling. They want to hear that part, you know what I'm saying? They was interested in that. So yeah, you go in on that a little bit. Like I know exactly what you're talking about when you talk about going through the ceiling, because they got this that they know how to dematerialize things using sound frequencies, and they can just make make it where your whole roof just become like into material like a gas, and you can just go right through it. You know what I'm saying? So I know exactly what you're talking about when you explain it, but just go ahead for the people though. For the people, go ahead.
Okay, actually, first of all, I like to say I appreciate you. Can you hear me? How's my sound?
Oh, your sound is crispy clear, brother. Crispy clear.
I like to say I appreciate you for bringing me on to your platform once again, so we can brace the ethers and see what streams through. I actually wanted to, if that's fine with you, I actually wanted to start off with people's questions, because when I get to flowing, you know what I mean, with this type of thing, it may be, you know what I'm saying, groundbreaking, and I won't stop. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to actually start with people's questions, if that's fine with you.
Okay, go ahead. However you want to do it. Hey, y'all. So hit me with them. Huh? Oh yeah, I got a question. Okay, all right. So when you came in contact with the beings, do you remember what type beings was it? Was it grays? Was it Anarchies and Tharus? Usually it'd be the grays, but like was you in contact with these grays, or was you like was you aware? Like they probably abducted you a couple times before they allowed you to remember, you know what I'm saying, to remember what was going on. Because that's how they do a lot. They abduct them a couple times, then when they say, okay, I need this dude to do something, or when you're supposed to do something, that's when they start putting stuff into your head while you sleep, like they set people in front of a screen, and then they just like you in a sleep RAM type. It's hard to really explain, but they put stuff into your head like through a screen. How they used to do it, you know what I'm saying? And they just put you back. You got this memory of a whole bunch of shit, but it don't activate until something happens, some trigger to what you're supposed to do. So my question for you is, when they took you aboard the ship, did they operate on you? Did they put a chip in you? Did they sit you in front of a screen or something where you can remember, where they can pump certain events into your head, future events? That's what they did to Baba. You know what I'm saying? They pumped shit into his head, the future events and shit. So yeah. So what was your experience on being taken by these beings? How did you feel? Did you feel like you got taken advantage of, or did you feel like, oh, this is supposed to happen, or something like that? Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I was 12 years old to begin with. So this had to be around 2012, 2013, one of them. I was just leaving 7th grade. I stayed in Decatur off of Tilson Road. I think it was Timber Ridge Court, right? Just to give you specifics. And we were about to either get evicted. I think we got it. Yeah, it might have been an eviction. So there wasn't really much in the house. And everybody was staying with my father and my stepfather. And it was my mother, myself, and my older sister. So all I had in my room on the shadow of conversation, or the night of conversation, was a couch, a little bitty couch. And that's what I chose to rest on. So background, I knew about these extraterrestrial beings, of course, coming up in the information. I've heard about the Riskians and the Greys, the Arcturians, the Draconians, there's a million different ones. I've heard about all of the names that people are starting to come out with now through people like Malachi Z. York. Actually, it was Malachi Z. York up front, and then it became the David Icke and rest of people. We would go and research them and see that they were talking about different things also with the angel phenomenon and all this other stuff that was taking place. So you had a lot of the confusion of who the beings were and what they were. It just wasn't a lot of conversation around the melanin dominant ones until the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and Dr. York braced the scene. And that's when Malachi York brought forth the names of the people and what they will be wearing and what they do and what their ships would look like and how you can access the ships. And if you hit a ringing, what you do and all this other stuff. So I was familiar with that. But up until 12 years old, I had never been on one of the crafts with my actual body. But before 12 years old, I had been in the crafts around on the different planes, whether it be in the astral, kind of lucid dream realm or the dream realm. So that shadow, which was real late, I had just laid down, and I don't know if people remember with their own experiences, but if you're familiar with sleep paralysis, what tends to happen when you do or undergo sleep paralysis is your body starts to vibrate. You can feel these waves pushing through your body, right? It's almost like you're being shaken on the inside. So that was the sensation. As soon as I laid down, I wasn't asleep. As soon as I laid down onto my couch, there was a wave that rushed over my body, and I started to feel how we feel with sleep paralysis if you've ever experienced it. I don't recall any type of light of any sort. I just recall spiraling up. I was laying flat. I recall spiraling up to face my ceiling and going straight through. There was a dark area between where you go through the ceiling and when I went out of my roof. In the dark area, in my mind, I remember, thinking I'm in my attic. You know what I'm saying? I was in my attic at that point. I went through the roof. The dark area went around me. I went through the roof, and I was looking up at the brightness, like I can say a spherical, but also circular bottom of whatever the craft was. And the brightness made it be that I really couldn't see the outskirts of the craft. I couldn't really see the shape of it to tell you what shape. I could only assume a disc of some sort, but I couldn't really see the shape because of the way the light was hitting my eyes. But the brightness didn't last long because I came up laying flat on some type of, I want to say platform. And the only reason why I say some type of, because right now I have my desk right here. I could touch my desk and say my desk is solid, or even think of what type of material the desk is. But whatever I was laying out on, it wasn't material. It was like waves. So not water, but some type of magnetism, because you can feel this soft pulsation up under you. All right, that's what I felt on my back. So I'm laying facing upward. As soon as I come up, I'm trying to look around, but moving my head was a task, just like with sleep paralysis. It felt like every time I tried to move my face or move my head, there was a magnetism holding me in place. So at first, I was using my eyes to look around, and there was this goldish yellow beam, like when you scan groceries. There was this goldish yellow beam that kept going up and down my body, or scanning up and down my body. I started to immediately see the figures that you're asking me about, which was one standing to my right, like if you can imagine being on a doctor table. One standing to my right, and there was a semicircle of them all the way up to the point of the bottom of my feet. Mind you, I'm laying out on my back. So I'm seeing this gold, yellowish light scan up and down my body. I know it's scanning up because I can see it as it comes up to the top of my head and then travels back down. All I can think of is a scanner. That's the closest I could, like a scanner mixed with like a sewing machine, whatever the arm was. But all I could think of to tell you was this gold light scanner from Walmart, where you can imagine how you pick up items. The people, which I call them people because that's what them niggas look like, had afros. You understand? And they were melanin dominant. They were brown skin. Only thing I wasn't able to do, because I tried to turn my head after observing the goldish yellow light, I tried to turn my head. I wasn't able to look them in their face to make out actual facial features. However, I was able to see from the lighting, which was like low, dim, oranges, yellow lighting in the room, okay, like the average home light, okay, I was able to make out their figure, they arm, leg, arm, head, like we are. They had on these black, skin-tight, fantastic forward-looking outfits, and I was able to see toward, when I was able to literally look down toward my feet, I was able to see a flare. So it wasn't like it was skin tight, exactly like Fantastic Four. At the waistband, which their waist was a little higher up than ours, at the waistband, there was a flare. The shit was stylish, is what I'm trying to say. The shit is some type, wherever they from, the niggas give a fuck about what they wear. So it was clean, it was stylish, and it had this flare out at the bottom. I could see the froze, they had different froze. It wasn't like it was all the same shit. Niggas had different types of little froze, different sizes. I wasn't able to look to my right. I was able to eventually look to my left. And when I looked to my left, because what really led me to look to my left was I wasn't able to push my hand to the right. So really, I wanted to look at whoever was standing directly to my right, but I wasn't allowed to. So I looked to my left, and there was this water, if you remember watercolor paint when we were in school, there was this watercolor poster board shaped type of technology. It didn't have anything that was hoisting it or holding it up. It was in literally midair to my left. There was this like digitalized holographic looking poster board screen automatically to my left, about the size of an iMac, what I'm using right now. On that screen was slides of different organs of my body. So first I remember clearly my heart. It didn't look like no little heart how we draw it. It looked exactly like how they show us when you got to go through the human anatomy and look at the different valves and the atrium and all of that. It would look exactly like that. I saw my heart. I saw the blood around the heart. All these details is important. And next to the heart was this, if you remember the movie, if you haven't, go look at it. Transformers, Revenge of the Fallen. Go watch that movie and you're going to see little sigils in the movie. The sigils, obviously to them, have some type of meaning or their letters or numbers. To me, when I saw whatever the sigil was next to my heart, I immediately knew that those were percentages. Okay? So I saw first my heart and a percentage next to it. That's the only thing I knew it was. I can't really tell you what the symbols are. But there was a percentage next to my heart. And then it swiped or slid like a slideshow. And then I saw my brain. Then that slid, I saw my liver. That slid, I saw my skull. You understand? So there was different parts of my body, whether it be the organ or an actual bone structure, like my skull, that I was able to see sliding past on the slides. Okay? They spoke to me. How many spoke? I don't know. Who spoke? I don't know. They didn't speak out of their mouth. And they didn't actually speak English. This is going to sound weird. They didn't actually speak English. But it's like the resonance is the best word when I tell people. The resonance of what they were saying translated in English for me. So it wasn't like they were saying English words, but it was more of a feeling of what they were saying that became a phrase. And it was one line. And it said, you're on the right path right now. Mind you, I was 12 years old. So you're on the right path right now. Stay on that path. Now, again, them niggas didn't say that shit. Whatever information they were logging in my brain, that's the saying that I walked away with. You're on the right path right now. Stay on that path. After that, I was placed back into my room. Oh, I have to also point out that there were honeycomb-like structures along their walls. Like inside of the interior of the craft looked like a dome, kind of different ridges, but they had honeycomb-type structures. And I'm just making sure I remember every little detail. I told you the outfits. I told you the niggas looked like us. They had froze. I saw whatever the screen shit was. I didn't see no type of platform, whatever the fuck it was. I didn't see it under me, but I could feel that it was something that was holding me together up there like it was magnets. Okay? So when I came back into my room, that concluded the experience. I woke up or came back and told my mother from it, told my sister about it, asked if they experienced it. So hours later, when I awakened, I came and told my sister and my mother about it. And I was asking my sister, did she realize anything peculiar? Because we didn't have a washer and a dryer. We had only the washer. So she came to my room to hang her blanket up on my door, right? So when I came back, I didn't immediately go to my mom and my sister, but the following AM or hours later, I went to her and asked her because I felt her and heard her come and get her blanket off of the door. I asked her, did you hear or observe anything odd? And the only thing that she could tell me, and if she was ever able to speak to you, she could, and you made me the, whatever she could say, she would tell you there was a buzzing. She heard some type of buzzing, and I asked her where it was coming from. She said, me. It was coming from me. You understand? So she did walk in, is my point, somewhere during that time or after that time where the event occurred. So my mother, she said she didn't, and the first thought that came to my mind was, did this happen to everybody that was in the house, which was the three of us, or did it only happen to me? Okay, as in, did it happen to everybody and I'm the only one who remembered, or did it only happen in my situation, in my case? From 12 years old to however I might have been 21 years old in the year 2020. It took me that long to hear about another situation that took place before I was born in 1994 in Ruwa, Zimbabwe, where some children described the same beings that I described. They said they had on black. I saw like some of the drawings. They drew one of them drew the black suit or whatever outfit they had on. They had brown skin and they had this small little fro. So it took however many years, from 12 years old to 21, almost 10 years, for me to hear about and watch from the Phenomenon documentary, came out in 2020, that other people had experienced the people who wear black. Why is it important? Because growing up, I heard about people who were dressing all white. When you go look at the story time, my children, you see that there are people in all white. You understand? One thing I can point out, even though it might seem like I'm over the place if you listen to me, is that whoever those people were, there was, I want to say, an aura about them that made it be that I knew that was the military of whoever or wherever they're from. They're the military. They didn't have clearly exhibited emotions. You understand? It was more so, it's straight to the point. It's the best way. I think the best example I can give you is people that have been in the military. You feel what I'm saying? Like if you know how people have been in the military, they come back, or people who were from Desert Storm, they come back. It's like it's almost cold, like they kind of cold, but it's more so there's no exhibition of emotion. So they were emotionless beings. They were telepathic beings. They looked like us. They had afros. They had some type of style that was uniform amongst them, and the technology was advanced. They had whatever the material that you speaking about, technology you speaking about, that had the ability to extract people from their homes. You understand? And they may or may not have been conducting whatever that was, that scan on all of the people in the house. I don't know that. But for those people who were in Ruwa, Zimbabwe, they're older now. One of them I reached out to. Her name is Selma Sadiq. I reached out to her on Instagram. I wasn't able to get a response. She did allow me to follow her. She only got like 300 followers, not a lot of people. But she was one of the people who they interviewed when she was in Africa, in Ruwa, Zimbabwe. And they also interviewed her later on, I believe it was for the Phenomenon documentary. And I reached out to her, and I can show you that. Actually, my phone is over there, so I might have to go over and get it. But I can show you where I reached out to her and I asked her if I could get in contact with her, because I had that experience where she made a post on her Instagram, which again, her page is private, so you may not be able to see it. But if you go look her up, Selma Sadiq, I think it's Siddick, right? I reached out to her and I asked her, I was explaining to her I had similar experiences, because there was a post that she made on her Instagram where she said she wished that whoever or whatever the extraterrestrial was who came and visited her when she was a child would come back to get her. And a lot of the children, if you go watch the Ruwa, Zimbabwe incident or aerial school phenomenon, you go look it up all over YouTube, you'll be able to find different videos on it. Ariel, A-R-I-E-L, school phenomenon. A lot of the children were saying that whoever those beings were offered them, without opening their mouth, they spoke to them telepathically. They offered them to leave with them. They said they could leave with them. And they also were, like you said, showing them images in their brain of future events or things that were going to happen. I'm not making this up. You literally go listen to these children speak on it. And it wasn't just melanin-dominant children. It was melanin-dominant and melanin-recessive Caucasoids, Negroids alike. They were all saying that these extraterrestrial beings communicated with them in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And the children were saying they put pictures in their head. Some of the children said they spoke in their brain. But they didn't have the word, obviously, at that time, they didn't have the word telepathic. But when they show you how they were years later, when they were older, they were saying telepathic communication. They were all telepathic. And they were speaking to them right into their brain. So go look that up. So the point was, I reached out to the sister, and I was looking for some of the other brothers and sisters. I was never able to find them that were mentioned in the documentary. But of those brothers and sisters, when I reached out to her, I was explaining that I had similar experiences, and I wanted to know if they told her something else other than what she said on screen. Because the only message that I was able to get directly from them was, you're on the right path, stay on that path. You understand? So since I was 12 years old up to this point, I've never been physically on another craft. Now, I also thought it was interesting that I was 12 when it happened, and the other children were around the same age or a little younger when they had the experience, which let me know, because you go look up into the details of the aerial school phenomenon, that all of the teachers were inside of their homes. I mean, inside of the school when the crafts came down. They were all in a staff meeting when the crafts came down. All of the children were outside. And the children, some of the children ran in and tried to get one of the adults who was over the trees making the snacks, and they thought they were trying to trick them so they can grab some of the snacks so they didn't go out. How did these beings know when to land and when to leave? They knew all the adults was in a staff meeting. You know what I'm saying? And they came, spoke to the children, and they started to bring, they brought in a psychiatrist, some other motherfuckers. They had the cameras and everything. It's all recorded, where these children sat in a circle with one of the teachers or whoever the orchestrators were, or the coordinators was, and they said, yo, one of the boys was like, they saying that something bad is going to happen in our future, in our lifetime, to our planet. Another one of the little girls said they're concerned that the human beings are becoming too concerned with technology. You feel what I'm saying? So all of this was messages that if you go look into the aerial school phenomenon, all right, these people were getting given or receiving from beings who they said were black. The little children, they said, what they said, describe them for us. They said they look black. They said black, what do you mean black? Like a little black man. They said they had hippie hair. You understand? Which I explained to people that the hippies were trying to dread their hair up by putting dirt in their hair and letting their hair mat up to look like melanin dominant rosters. Because that was one of their ways to feel more spiritual, okay, as there was an explosion of spirituality taking place. Because you got to remember the seventh seal was being opened. Malachi York brought a whole new air of what you refer to as spirituality to the earth plane. And a lot of them Caucasoids started to be drawn to spirituality around that time, where the hippie movement started taking off and more people wanted to be spiritual. Are you with me? But that's when you started to have more people in Nevada experiencing encounters or close encounters, which we'll get into that too. Are you with me? So the point of it was those beings were not grays. I've only experienced grays in the dream realm and in sleep paralysis. But those particular beings were melanin dominant. They looked like us. If you would have saw them on the street, you would just ask why they were dressing weird. You would have never thought that was an extraterrestrial. You feel what I'm saying? And I think that's very important, because when you get into the conversation of extraterrestrials, a lot of people are thinking, oh, these people got to look like Greys, or they got to look like LGMs or Little Green Men, or they got to look like the Arcturians. And I think they did that on purpose, because that's what they put into all of the movies, you know what I'm saying, for us as children growing up, except where they hid little things in movies like E.T., where E.T. was a melanin dominant person. Like we going over before. He was black. E.T. was black. And E.T. looked like Imam Isa when he had him in the basket with the white on, and he was dressed as Imam Isa. You understand? And he was able to point to the little boy's forehead to tell him, I'll be right here. I'll be speaking to you in your brain. He said, I'll be right there. I'm going to be communicating with you through God's name, all right, which is the God's name in your forehead, an original tone that will appear as a new song when people learned it. But that's what you used to be able to do, speak through that tone or that medium or vortex that allowed tone through, which was a part of your brain needing to be activated, the pineal, that calls for telepathic communication. And there was another gland in conjunction with the pineal gland called the barotheric gland that allowed for people to activate that part of themselves, one of the higher senses, which is telepathy. So whoever these beings are, not Faise is saying it, whoever those 60 children were in the aerial school phenomenon, okay, they were also saying these beings don't even use their mouth. They speak into the minds of men and the minds of women, the minds of the children. They speak into your mind. Okay, so that's the same thing they did in the movie Knowing. In the movie Knowing, they spoke to the minds of the children. All right, they called them the whisper people or the Etherians, spoke directly into the minds of the children. They said many are called, few are chosen. And in the end, the dad or the father couldn't go because he didn't hear the call. And the only way he could have heard that call is if he was telepathically inclined. Are you with me? So those were melanin dominant people. That's the ones I saw in real time, in real life. Other experiences, the astral plane, I've seen all kind of niggas. They be doing all kind of shit. But in the real time, that was the only one. I wish I could say there were other. I feel that I'm gonna have to leave society eventually for me to really get to being able to truly sit down with them. You understand? And I want people to remember, again, it's not spiritual what I'm talking about. This is I didn't do no shrooms. I'm 12 years old at that time. I still to this day have never taken shrooms in my life. And I've had more experiences than the people who claim that they're taking them or claim that that's what we need to take. So I wasn't on shrooms. I didn't smoke no weed. I wasn't none of that. I was a 12-year-old child who was aware about it. But for some reason, they came to me, and that was the only time they ever physically contacted me on one of their crafts. Now, there have been other times where they appeared in my room, which we can get to that. But I want to make sure I just answer that question, that those beings were brown-skinned, woolly-haired people who wore clothing. So we're not talking about spirits. We're not talking about some interdimensional, mystical shit. Wherever they were from, even if it was another dimension, they were physically manifested before me. And they had physical technology that reflected light, you know what I'm saying, in order for me to be able to behold it. So even if that science itself eludes me, that science is still reality. What I know is what I saw. And those weren't no spirits. They didn't even have no haze about themselves. The niggas looked like niggas. But something they had to pick their fro out. You understand? So we get our style from somewhere. We get our dress from somewhere. You know, and the only thing we haven't really obtained yet is the ability to communicate how they communicate, which the closest people that we have as Homo sapiens or human beings that can understand that science is women. They're more telepathic than men. You understand? Is why you're really supposed to be learning how to communicate like women in order to get in contact with them. They're less verbal, all right? They're more nonverbal beings. Just being nonverbal alone is the science of telepathy, being able to speak far off. Go ahead.
Hey, speaking of telepathy, I got a question for you. So what do you mean when you say telepathically inclined?
It means if you're walking down the street, okay, and something says, make a right. Do you listen to it or do you ignore it? Because there are a lot of things speaking in your brain, a lot of what you call audio verbal hallucinations or inner voices going off at one time. All right. However, what you refer to as the voice of God, which is really an extraterrestrial sending a message to your receptor, which is your brain, all right, can speak to you in a split second and test to see if you can hear our voice or its voice. They'll test you. So they say, go right. You don't go right, but you would have stumbled across $10,000 wadded up in the corner somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Or you would have met a person who becomes your wife. Can you hear the voice? So telepathically inclined is saying, do you know how to isolate and pinpoint messages in your brain? Can you clearly hear the voice of the devil and the voice of God? When you walk in a room, can you hear the conversation that took place before you got there? Can you hear the conversation? If you get in the car with some people, can you hear what they said? Because why am I saying that? When you say words, they're still registered in the brain. And especially when they're fresh on the brain, they can be picked up on, those words. You ever walked in a room and you be like, these motherfuckers are talking about me. You can literally feel the shit and hear what was being said. Now, you might not have every phrase. Some of y'all clean like that. I'm clean like that. You might be able to pick up on every phrase and might be able to repeat to them what the fuck they said. You understand? Or you might not, but you'll know what the basis of the conversation was because there's lingering information. Are you with me? That's why it's important for people to study things like the electroencephalogram or the EEG technology, all right, or the targeted dream incubator. All of this is brain technology where there's a communication, okay, waves being sent off and registered, neural waves being registered in your brain with every thought you have, every time you go from non-REM or NREM, okay, non-rapid eye movement to rapid eye movement, or every time you have hypnagogic hallucinations or you slide between the delta, the theta, the alpha, and the delta states of observation, every time there's something that occurs in your brain from a thought of urgency or a thought of laziness, or a thought of having some milk, or a thought of going to the store, a thought of racing somebody, a thought of living your best life, a thought of being in love with someone, a thought of building something that helps benefit people, whatever it is that your brain puts together, there's a piece of information registered and says this was the thought that this person had. Why do you think they needed Einstein's brain? Einstein didn't want them to take his brain, but they still wound up getting his brain. Why? Why they needed his brain? And why is were there movies being put out that when somebody was about to leave with everything they brought to the planet, they wanted to take their brain? You go watch the movie Phenomenon, interestingly enough, Phenomenon, because Phenomenon was a documentary that came out that spoke on more of what I'm speaking to you about. All right, with me, go watch Phenomenon about the true light, where there was a character called George Malley, as in Melikai, all right, who was exposed to the true light and had abilities just like Meteor Man did. He could pick up a book, learn a new language. He learned so many languages. He was teaching people. He had telekinesis. He was able to read. He could do all the things that people couldn't do as the average human being. You understand? You go watch that movie, and in the end of the movie, without a spoiler, but it's going to be a spoiler, in the end of the movie, it was all about his brain. It was all about his brain. Okay, there's information in your brain. To be telepathically inclined is to know that a person can't do this, click, hear what I'm saying, make a comment, like a post, subscribe, go do this, send this, whatever. They can't do any of that without using this. And everything I just said that people do, all of that I just said, and everything I've ever said in my life is right here. Okay? So a lot of people say, I need to get this out before I lose it. Lose what? It's a thought. Well, it starts to seep into the depths of the brain or the depths of the consciousness, like your memories are doing right now. Now watch this. Go back to when you were 5 years old. Now watch this. Go back to your favorite birthday. Now watch this. Go back to when you ever celebrated a holiday, if you ever have. Now watch this. Go and see your mother. Okay? Go and see your father. Put some clothes on them. What are they wearing? Put them together. Okay? You're literally moving around pieces in your brain. You're jipping and ipping through the temporal lobe. You're using the parietal lobe to build a sensation. You're activating the memory. You know what I'm saying? And if you listen to what I'm saying and it makes sense, you're using the frontal lobe and you're forming a reality, putting pieces together of elements of part of yourself that already exists. So telepathically inclined means you understand all of this. So I'm the type of person, motherfucker, lie to me, and I know what's in your brain. I look and see from the slightest. Go watch the movie Now You See Me. Okay? It's all in the slightest piece of information that's being shown, like I told you, all right, that's being recorded in your brain and being emitted, and people are able to pick up on it. So that's why they got whole schools where the people like from the FBI, they got to go through them schools to learn body language. Because body language is nonverbal communication. Are you with me?
Mm-hmm.
So people think telepathy is just like, what number am I thinking of? You're thinking of number 3. That's not telepathy. Telepathy is what are all of the different implications of the message that's being sent out from the brain. Are you with me? And the easiest way for people to try to pick up on it is through verbal communication. However, people can lie when they open up their mouth because they've had time to process whatever the information is, even if it's a split second. That's why I tell people, you want to know if somebody lying to you, ask them a question out of nowhere. And it ain't even about the answer they give you. Pay attention to what happened when you ask the question. You feel what I'm saying? Pay attention. Do they stutter? Does their voice fluctuate like this? What is it that's happening? Or do they flip it and say, the fuck, nigga, why you asking me that? How about you? What about you? They trying to buy themselves time to form something that makes sense, but there's too much pressure at that moment. So they'll stick. Why do people stick to a lie? Remember, you ever see? It's the reason why I'm saying this. It's because there was a meme that said, why human beings don't use telepathy? They said they got too much to hide from each other. Why people stay alive and then stick to the lie? You catch and say, you're lying. No, I'm telling the truth. You tripping. Why do people do that? Well, for one, it's because they're trying to maintain whatever this thing is that they feel is a barricade between themselves and you, all right, which they feel they can hide their brain. But when you really study the type of technology that's out here, the brain ain't even safe. They can invade that and get whatever information they need to. Are you with me? So to be telepathically inclined, for one, is to understand the brain and to remember that that is the main form or source when it comes to communication for human beings. Whether you're understanding what's being brought to your body or you putting out a message, your brain has to function in some way, shape, form, or fashion for that communication to take place. And whoever you're communicating with also has to have a brain. Okay, so that same brain, which is the center of the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system, is the same brain that causes for the body to move like what I'm doing right now. None of this happens without my brain. Okay, so then if I'm speaking and you ask me, yeah, so what they look like? I say, shit, they look like it was because, you got the Grays, you got the Arturians, no, what they look like? They look like niggas. So the truth is, they look like niggas. The lie is, you got the Grays, you got the Arturians. Fuck, half of y'all not encountering them unless it's in a sleep paralysis because they're doing a different type of mission. You know what I'm saying? Their whole purpose is to extract from people and use whatever that probe shit is, and I've encountered it, to take information. They're not bringing you up to give you no message. Them the wrong group. So everybody trying to merge it in as one, don't even know that different niggas is here on different business. You feel what I'm saying? So the truth is hidden by people in their mind. So to be telepathically inclined is to, for one, know your potential to do that and understand. It ain't always about lying and truth. However, in order for a message to get to you, like if I give you a code to crack, the truth of that message is whatever you figured out when you crack that code. That's the truth to the message. Right. If you get the code wrong, that was a fallacy. You understand? So to be telepathically inclined is to know the brain and to understand it as the base of communication. And pick up
five break.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's a 5 breakdown. And I got another question for you going into that. Now, I heard the master teacher talk about DNA and how it's recorded and how it's got memory through the mitochondrial DNA. And I did a little study on the mitochondrial DNA and found out that it was like some kind of super intelligence that's being involved for like millions of years. And it comes from the woman, right? Mm-hmm. So my question is, does that play a part in like the stuff that you was talking about, like people, your awareness of you knowing what to do, like, adapting, because like the mitochondrial DNA, it adapt, it transforms, it grows, it evolutes, mm-hmm. and it records. Mm-hmm. So a lot of intelligence that we have now comes from our ancestors working their way up through that. Right. So my part is like, is there some kind of connection with the stuff that you were saying when your higher self is talking to you? Could it be your ancestors talking to you through your DNA?
Gotcha. That's a real good question. So I can tell you an example. I went over to my father's house when I was 12 years old. And my father, as y'all know, is Bodie, right? Or Bodie Ray Love. He didn't raise me, meaning he wasn't present in my household at all. You understand? However, he would give me, like I've explained before, keys along the way that helped me to piece things together, which was necessary. I got other siblings, my brothers and my sister on my father's side. And all of them have come to the same conclusion and told me in different ways. They say, nigga, he didn't even raise you, but you the most like him. You know what I'm saying? Like, how did you end up being the most like this nigga out of all of us? You feel what I'm saying? And I was over at his house when I was 12 years old, and me and one of my brothers was just chilling. Actually, it was two of my brothers. We was chilling, and I started to thump my toe. Like I make a thumping sound with my toe, and they was like, bro, they said, wait a minute, what you was just doing? And I started doing it again, and they looked at each other. They was like, bro, Dad does that shit all the time, bro. I'm like, shit, nigga, I didn't know where the fuck I got it from. I just fucking doing it. He said, bro, Dad be sitting there doing the same exact shit. You sound like him. You know what I'm saying? You the most like him. You can break shit down like him. You remember, bro, how you like him. What's my point? My point is there's information in your genes, in your DNA, in your blood. Simplest way to break down that science is something called heredity. okay, or character traits, where your parents will pass down certain traits. Some traits may fall off or recede, or other traits may dominate, okay? And they'll say, you're just like your grandfather. You may never have met your grandfather. You know what I mean? Or you're just like your great-great-grandmother. You're just like your great-aunt, and you probably never met them before. You understand? Or you have met them, but, you know, you have characteristics of them that they didn't pass on to you as a learned behavior. It was just inherited. Are you with me? Okay, so what if somebody was able to tell you, yo, you're like this because your grandfather was like this. All right, boom. Now you can make a connection to your grandfather, and there's a supreme activation, genetic activation that takes place in the body, because now you know a place, an image, or a placeholder to put to whatever this gene activation is that causes for you to have this trait or causes you to act this way or do this. People talk about breaking generational curses. Those generational curses aren't always things that are happening to you. A lot of times those generational curses are things that you have not overcome in your bloodline, things that you do, tendencies that you have. You understand? Your actions or your deeds when it comes to other people, how you feel about yourself could be a generational curse that's been seeded in a long time ago because this information has been altered. The same way I could take and genetically splice, all right, a being, I can do that same thing with your genes, your alleles, your letters. Take this one over here, take that one over there. And all I need to know is the proper words or actions, curse words, to do to a person to cause them to even ascend or to descend. Meaning I could take this person or this being who is a Homo erectus, I can cause activations or upregulations in the procedures or the evolving of their frontal lobe, okay, and cause them to be able to think more like God. Does it make sense? So for those of you who have experienced generational curses, the way to break those curses is using your willpower and saying, you know what, instead of doing this, because I know, and it helps when you have this reference, I know my father did this. So this may come up in my life because due to epigenetics, my environment is affecting me and I'm affecting my environment. You understand? So my father did this, my mother did this. That doesn't mean I have to do what they do, but I have the tendency to do that. You understand? So when that comes up in my life, I make the choice and say, all right, my mother had children at 16. All right, I'm not going to have children at 16. So when you get 17 years old, you can say, I broke whatever it is. It only got to be a generational curse, but I did something opposite what my mother did. And what did you just do? You just created a gene or a genome loaded with information that you're going to pass on to your daughter or your son that says you don't get pregnant at 16. Now, they still have the choice of whether or not they will. So my point is, when you learn about your grandfather, you just cause yourself to have an edge or an advantage because now you can refer to your grandfather. Now imagine you learned about your grandfather, now you can go talk to your grandfather. Your grandfather is a version of yourself that existed before this version got here. And there's information that he has logged in his genes. You can do what's called pick his brain, literally. Pick his brain, you ask him questions, he utters whatever the codes are to you. He gives you passwords and keys and gems or jewels that allow for you to pass through certain doors and activate new parts of your body and figure out things. What do I figure? You're doing numbers, figure out things that you needed to figure out about yourself. Okay, what happens when somebody comes forth and not only reveals to you about why you are how you are because your grandfather, your grandmother, your great aunt were that way? What if they were able to tell you that some of you feel like you're from the stars because your ancestors were? Some of you feel connected to the Masonic emblem because your ancestors created it or pieced it together. Some of you are attracted to Christianity because one of your ancestors was Elijah or Jesus or, Moses, whoever. I'm just giving you examples. What if somebody was able to literally piece and connect you to the Most High that you would have in your genome? And if you had nobody else, if you looked at the simplest of science and went as far back as you needed to go scientifically, and you found the mitochondrial Eve, which is what you were asking about, could you not go back and make a connection to the mother and say, well, then that means that whoever I am, a man or a woman, all right, there was a mother or woman who was the divine or the Most High for my whole, not just bloodline, but existence as a species. Are you with me? And you go back and make that connection. So what do? You pay homage to and honor to the immediate mother that you have. And then you pay respect and honor to the father that you have. And this helps you figure out more about who you are. So there's a genetic way to do it. You can go and trace your genes. And then there's a way to say, well, there were human beings that went through what I'm going through right now before I even got here. Some of y'all experiencing your heartbreaks. Some of y'all getting over a heartbreak. Some of y'all just broke somebody's heart. You understand? Somebody did that 3,000 years ago. Whole kingdoms have been slaughtered for a nigga getting his heart broke. And we on here putting out social media statuses and shit. Somebody went through this already. Okay. So then that's why they say read a book, because somebody put that experience in a book. You read a book, it's going to activate certain parts of you. And you say, damn, I only got to go through that. You read more books or go and talk to elders who experience more, and your genetic activation start taking place on a higher level. But we were taught in society to disregard the elders. They don't know nothing. They're not hip. You understand? They're not tuned in to what's going on. And all these years of information are passing by us, especially if that was the last wave with those elders who would have been attached to whatever that gene was as it survived. So meditation allows for you to tap into genes. Reading books allows for you to tap into genes. Talking to your elders allows for you to, and then what else? Talking to your children. Because when they come in here, a lot is fresh on their mind. Instead of waiting for your children to ask questions, start asking your children questions, and they'll be able to tell you certain things because it's right there fresh. They may be able to tell you, like my sister told my mother. She said, who are you? She said, I'm your great-grandmother. My sister was number 2 years old. Told my mama she was her great-grandmother. Are you with me? I got nieces, seen little children. These ain't new babies. All right? So the power when it comes to the gene, think about Genesis. All right? In the Bible. It's all about the formation of who you are. Something had to form you, even if you go back to the autosome. Something forms you. And in order for it to form you, there had to be somebody that programmed it, or it programmed itself, however it happened, but there's a way to figure out what the information is. So all ascended masters had to, at one point, journey genetically, whether it be within themselves with the meditation and all of that, but also go to the different corners of the earth to pick up the sacred tablets that were left behind and ask around and say, what did this mean? What did that mean? So they can find out more about who and what they are. Are you with me? So it's all about heredity. Somebody asked me a while ago, they said, yo, who were you in your past life? I said, my mother and my father. They said, no, that's not what I'm asking you. I'm saying, who were you? I said, my mother and my father. If that doesn't suffice, if that's not an answer that can suffice for you, you don't understand science. You understand? Because if I take a rat and I put them in a cage and I put almonds in the cage every day, and every time that rat goes for that almond, okay, it receives a shock, but the rat knows it has to survive. What happens with the rat? The rat starts to develop a cell in its body that grows resistant to the shock or the pain of the shock. And that happens how with human beings, the endorphins are released and there's a signature that's laid there that says, this is painful. You understand? So after a while, it becomes resistant to pain. Same way with push-ups. You might do push-ups after a while. You get I suffered it before, a chest wall injury, whatever. But the more you do, the less the pain is. You understand? And the more you can do in a row before you get tired. So if a rat is able to develop a single cell that causes for them to be resistant to that almond, all right, and we put another rat in there that has children or breeds an offspring with that rat who developed that cell, the children will have in them already. And I'm telling you the real truth, this is real science. The children or the offspring of that rat or those rats will already have in them programmed whatever the cell was that was necessary for them to be able to resist the shock that comes from an almond. Okay, if I were to take and allow for that generation to continue on for 100 years, and then take the children of those almond poison shock resistors and put them in an environment with other rats that didn't even have the resistance in their genes, not only would I be able to immediately tell them apart based off of the response of them eating almonds with poison on them, if I were to put them in there, I would also be able to breed a whole new genome or a whole new race of beings in that particular environment who would be able to, at that point, resist the almond shock. And also, key thing, I'll be able to pick that rat out and say, this rat came from an area which was a rat trap where their parents lived there and their descendants lived there for 100 years in that rat trap. Okay, and this information, his one cell right here, lets us know that those are his ancestors. The same thing y'all do with everything else. With the gene that says, oh, this is an extraterrestrial gene, the Rh negative blood, all that stuff that people are talking about. It's the same thing. There's information there that says you could have possibly come from here. Now, the key thing I want people to remember is if that rat that came from that 100-year trap that received the poison and the shock from eating the almond were mixed in with those other people become affected. And now they not only have that ability, but they're able to go off into different areas and create more rats that have that ability. Are you with me? So it may be confusing for some people to say, well, how do I know whether or not I'm from the ancient Egyptian culture or ancient Egyptian people or the Olmecs or all of that? Research them. What resonates? That's why a lot of you want to be Egyptian so bad. You don't even know if you're Egyptian or not. But you want to be Egyptian because it resonates with you. A lot of people want to be Native American because it resonates with them. Did it ever dawn on you that there have been so many genes mixed in over time that you have a little bit of every motherfucking body in you? You got Native American in you, all right, the Hopi, the Wichita, you got the Olmecs, you got the Mishraimites, as you call them, or the Egyptians, the Ethiopians, you got Spaniards, Polish, Irish, you got all kind of shit in you. You understand? And you trying to figure out which one group of people you connected to say, oh, that was us. No. Human beings started with the mitochondria of Eve. All of you have a common ancestor. All of you have some type of common ancestor that allows for you not only, this is important, because people try to act like the Caucasoid race just doesn't belong here, as in it was a mistake. Well, let me tell you something. Nature don't make mistakes. You understand? That's something that human beings want to believe. However, if it were a mistake, okay, that the Caucasoid race appeared on your planet, you wouldn't be able to reproduce with them. Because nature would not allow for the reproduction, but you can reproduce with them. Meaning they are here as you are here, experiencing the human being or being human with the ability to reproduce. Even though you may have been at one point over here developing a resistance to whatever the resistance would have been needed for. All right. And they may have been over here experiencing whatever they were experiencing. At any given time, when the melanin dominant and melanin recessive either mixed in or that gene split, if you were still able to reproduce, then that information in both of you was able to merge and create a new body of information called a human being. All right, which will be in whatever your descendants are. So the highest point to remember is gene equals information. Gene equals the formation of a body of information. A genome holds information. Genetics, when you go and study, is all about math, numbers, things being recorded in the body that allows for me to be able to tell what and who was here. It tells a whole story. And the deeper you go into it, you'll find, bro, we could write a whole book on a person if you go deep enough into their gene. Because everything that's happened in their body was recorded in a single piece of genome. Right with me? Every double helix structure composes a story or a song. And if you learn how to read it, you tell somebody about their history, where they were, geographically, how it affected them, their environment, and all of that. Make sense?
Yeah. Hey, I got another question for you, being that you on that. Because people asked about this doing a close encounter. Like elusive dreamings, and when you go to the dream state and you sleep paranormal and all that, people was asking, how do you gain more control of it, and how do they come back and be able to remember it and write it down? I mean, just remember it. What's the best way to remember your dream? Yeah.
Simple answer. That's a good question. Simple answer. Focus in real time, or focus while you're awake. All right? Use flashcards. Test yourself. Go get a pack of flashcards. Trivia. Learn how to focus more and remember things in real time. Everything you're doing here, you take it to that higher plane. So if you pick up a water bottle in your corner store or grocery store, whatever, you pick up a water bottle, read the nutrition facts, read how much sodium is in it, whatever. Read the water bottle, read the label. Look at the smallest details of something. I had something I wanted to do when I was 7th grade. I told my mother this. I said, I'm gonna write a book called The Crayon in the Corner when I got older. I said, I'm gonna write a book called The Crayon in the Corner. She said, why would you do that? I said, because people don't pay attention to the crayon in the corner. And I don't think she got what I was saying, but the point was, if you want to be a lucid dreamer, you have to understand that that's less dense reality. And information is moving much faster. And the whole point of you being lucid is saying that in a world where you're not even supposed to be aware, all right, that it's a dream, you're aware. You're breaking the rule of some sort where people think the rule means law. No, the rule is saying you sleep, you dreaming, that's it. You're not supposed to know the difference until the dream fades. Okay? So you start heightening your senses while you're here. You feel what I'm saying? Watch an hour documentary without going, you know what I'm saying, to go pause it, you know what I'm saying, go to the restroom, whatever. Watch, pay attention, and take notes of an hour documentary. You understand? Do it without food. Do it because it's something you're going to pay attention to. Educate yourself on something you didn't even think you needed to know. Why? Because you're paying attention to details. Somebody shakes your hand, pay attention whether or not they look you in your eyes when they do it. That's a detail that's going to mean a lot. I teach my brothers that. I say, if a nigga, you shake a nigga hand and he don't look you in your eyes, I don't care what nobody say. Don't trust him. If you go to shake somebody and they can't look you in your eyes, do not trust them. It's a small detail though, but a lot of people don't know to pay attention to that. You feel what I'm saying? So your ability to pay attention in real time or the beta state or the awakened state transfers over into the dream world. You understand? So it's all about paying attention to detail. See what somebody's wearing when you meet them. Document that in your brain. She say she like gold, go get her a gold chain. You feel what I'm saying? Small details, whatever. Pay attention to it and remember. All right? It helps you because when you go into that world, it's all about details. How did I make lucid dreaming stronger for me? When I would be in my dream state, which I was put on to lucid dreaming by my mother when I was like 5 years old. So I was exposed to it very early. She had all kind of books, quantum touch, all kind of stuff. But she exposed me to lucid dreaming and it taught me how to bring it on because she used to experience it. So she was saying, this is how you activate it. And she was like, when you get into your resting state, say the mantra or the affirmation, I know this is a dream. I know this is a dream. I know this is a dream. And you continuously repeat it until you drift off. And I tried it. And I would be in my dream saying, I know this is a dream. And something would click, say, it's a dream. And then I look around and I say, wait, that's right. I was just laying down on my bed. You with me? So every time I was able to do that, I went into the dream world and I would walk up to stuff. I remember tapping, you know what I'm saying, one of the walls and treading along it. And there was a painting on it. There was some boat that was on fire in the water. I looked closely and I was able to see the little stitching. It was a little stitching in the paint, like the canvas paper. That's how close I got up on it. I said, this is the same shit we got over there. They want to tell you that your subconscious is projecting shit, and that's how you dream. And I'm telling you, that's bullshit. It ain't that simple. Because have you ever taken your time to count and pay attention to the fact that you really can't count the blades of grass in your dreams? Have you ever seen grass in your dream? How the fuck did your subconscious singly form each and every one of those blades? No. The same way I tell you, pay attention. There's a source of light in your dreams. You can see who put the source of light there. Your subconscious just imagined the sun too and how it was going to project the light. No. Now the subconscious still comes into play because that's when you get into the hermetic principles of all is mind. Mentalism, or literally saying the principle of the mind. Where you start learning about how things you do in your waking state affect your dream realm. So that still is valid. It's just that, no, it's not saying that it's only in your brain. It's saying that it's your brain that allows for you to experience it. You feel what I'm saying? But you're still going with that frequency of the brain, even if it's your astral or soul body, to experience that reality. So key thing, simple answer. How do I lucid dream more, Faise? Pay more attention to details. You think you're paying enough attention? You're not. What color underwear you got on right now? Were you thinking about your underwear before I said that? You think you paying attention? When the last time you thought about the fan is blowing? You think you paying attention? What color is your phone? Did that dawn on you? You understand? Think you paying attention? What time did you eat lunch? Pay more attention. Are you with me? There's not too much you can pay, because that's how you soak up a whole reality, and you'll start realizing when some shit is off in the waking realm. When you're awake, you say, hold on, something off. You'll be like, oh, nah, somebody doing magic. Or you're saying, hell no, I need to do this. I need to go, you know what I'm saying, meditate more, pray more. Or, oh, no, I need some more water. Or, oh, that wasn't supposed to happen. We ain't going to that event that day. I told niggas, I said, I don't give a fuck. If I show up to, if you invite me to the club, which I don't go, but if you were to invite me to the club and I pull up and it's in the middle of the summertime and a leaf fall off the tree, I'm leaving. I'm not staying because it's not even fall. So I know, oh nah, that's a detail that said run, leave right now. I done pulled up, one of the sisters, I pulled up to an event, we hopped out. Soon as we get out there, that wasn't an event, it was a store. Soon as we got to the store, I hopped out, it was a Walmart. I hopped out, I said, nope, we got right back in the car. Which if you walking with me, you got to know that shit gonna happen. It's gonna happen a lot of times. It's been situations just happened recently, not to get off subject, I'm gonna say this until we get back to it. Just happened recently where, you know, I pulled up to this QT and the sister was driving, I was in the passenger seat, and she got out. There was a lot going on that night. It was a real hot night. A lot of shit was going on. She got out, I got out, went into the QT with her. I was supposed to be getting some shit, picking up some items, something to drink. But some said, don't get it. Some said, don't get that. So she had already rang her shit up, which would have taken me more time if I didn't listen to that voice. Goes into the telepathically inclined ability. I listened to it. I said, don't do it. And I wanted the fucking Gatorade. It was a Powerade, a blue Powerade. I was going to get that and some other shit. I wanted it. I didn't get it. So they said, don't get that. Soon as she was done ringing her shit up, we walked out the store. There was a nigga standing outside the store, had a diamond-looking tattoo on his face, right? He was walking into the store. But when we walked past him, everything in my body said, pay attention, pay attention, pay attention, right? So we walked past him. He supposed to be going into the store. He stopped. He didn't go into the store. So I feel this nigga done stopped behind me. I'm putting the sister in front of me to walk in front of me. Come like, something is wrong, right? She get to, mind you, I'm a man. Sisters don't pump gas. She went to the gas pump to pump the gas, if you can understand what I'm saying. I'm watching the whole scene to see what the fuck moving. I can't be pumping no gas. Are you with me? So she go pump the gas. I go to the passenger side to get into the car. Pay attention to details. Some said, don't get in that car. So now my left leg is outside the car. My right foot is in front of the passenger seat. And I'm leaning into the car. Some said, don't get in the car. I'm halfway in, halfway out. I look back at the nigga who was standing in front of the store, and this nigga lighting up some shit. Look like a blunt. He lighting up some shit, standing there facing the car. So I'm looking at him. Time froze. Some said, now turn around. I turned my head to the left. Young elder, I was looking down the barrel of a gun. I was looking down the barrel of a gun. I kid you not. I was looking down the barrel of a gun. There was this stinging type of sensation in the brain. I'm looking into, this ain't no dream. This happened 3 days ago. I'm looking in the barrel of the gun. Nigga had on a ski mask. He was in his driver's seat, pointing the gun out the passenger seat diagonally across from the pump we was on. Time froze. You feel what I'm saying? And in that moment, I'm knowing what the fuck was gonna happen, but I was able to speak to the sister because he can't really see my face because now I'm halfway in, halfway out. And I heard him say out his mouth, he was like, on everything, bro, on everything. Whatever that meant, I knew what was gonna happen. But there was a freeze, and they gave me just enough time. And I was able to say to the sister, I called her name and said, let's go. She said, huh? I said, let's go. She hopped in and we swerved off. I ain't even barely closed the door. You with me? Because he still had the shit pointed. You feel what I'm saying? So something had to freeze. My point is this: pay attention to detail. It could be the determining factor of whether or not you make it home in real life. It could be the determining factor of whether or not you complete a project or don't. You know what I'm saying? Whether you complete a project or not. It could be the determining factor on whether your children are able to be raised up the way you need them to be or see that they should be, or they are raised by someone else. Every detail of what they're into and all of that, you pay attention to all of that. This should be something that you do in your life anyway. Okay? So that way, when you start entering into these other planes or different states of observation, to keep it simple, yeah, you already exposed to paying more attention to detail. So you're going to have heightened sense experiences. The average person don't listen to that voice, and that's why a lot of people, they leave before they had to. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to hear. Because if I ain't hear, what I said to the sister on the way leaving the store, I said, you know what's so crazy? Nobody would even fucking know that it happened. Y'all would have probably heard about this shit later. You feel what I'm saying? And that ain't nothing but one occasion. We'll come back later. But that ain't nothing but one occasion in the past week where it was like that, because I'm telling you, the dragon is not happy with me. The dragon ain't happy, and they want me gone. That's all I'm going to say. And what's so crazy, young elder, it was the night we did the 19 Keys teaching. And I said on that teaching, I said, I'm not going to be here as long as y'all think. You know what I'm saying? I said, I'm not going to be here as long as you think I'm going to be here. And then the shit, but I saw them snip and cut some shit because I know that they do that. They good for it. So it wasn't my time. Yeah. I called my OD. I said it wasn't my time. I said, but they telling me. You feel what I'm saying? But yeah, to the person who asked the question, pay attention to more and more details. Watch things and watch how it affects and transfers over into the dream world. What else y'all got for me?
Yeah, man, I know what you mean when you say they cut and paste you and they froze. That's dealing with it's called a trial ladder constitution. It's like it's always three things going on at one time. So if something was to happen to you in one reality, they would cut and paste you out of another reality if it wasn't time for you to leave. That's called a book of life. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The book of life. It's based on three principles.
But no, what's interesting?
So when they froze, like, man, that shit. Go ahead. I did leave that night. That's what happened. You know, I don't look down the barrel of a gun before many times. That wasn't the first time. That night I did leave, but they replaced it. They overlapped it, and it was just. I just got this. Ever since then, it's like I'm here, but it's like what you call borrowed time. I'm here, but I saw the shit, and it was so crazy because all I can say is in that moment, I know that when I would have been leaving. I was good. My soul was good. I had come through, did all this. I left all this stuff for these people. All these maps are in place. You go back and find all this stuff I left for people. Whatever the books, the movie, the music, my experiences with people in real time, all of that, I left that here. And the last move I would have made was the green light movement. So even though there was it was like a ringing or a sting type sensation, it was not a painful moment. It was real. There was anxiety afterwards for a small time because I had to come back into my body.
So that's what the anxiety was, me reassembling into the flesh. And I immediately called my mother and told her what took place. You understand? But yeah, it wasn't my time. It's just that it is time. I keep trying to tell people, how long you think? You know what I'm saying? Go listen to my song, This Skin. Phase One, This Skin. I don't know how long you think. The dragon ain't happy. And I keep trying to tell people, the more you start looking into what done happened in history, when they figure out who we are, what we're here to do, they come one way or the other. You feel what I'm saying? So Pop said, everybody waiting on, I don't know how we got here, but we here. Everybody waiting on the Savior to be born. Who in place to protect them? He said it. He said, everybody waiting on the Savior to be born, but who gonna protect them when he come? You feel me? So, but I was talking to the sister because we have been having a little difference. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't too heavy, but it was some red light. It was some amber light that was moving around. And when we were leaving, I asked her 2 questions. I said, you ever stared down the barrel of a gun before? She said no, because she didn't know why we left, which is very important. Again, when you rocking with me, if I say move, move. You don't have to know, but you can't know all the time. And you're not knowing is not worth you having to deal with your not knowing. When I say move, move. You feel what I'm saying? I asked her, I said, you ever stared down the barrel of a gun before? She said no. I said, do you love me? I said, no. I said, not do you love me? I said, do you got love for me? Reason why I asked that is because I know it was the amber light that exposed me to them. That's how they was able to get to me, through amber light. I was out and about, which is why I tell people, make sure my Umi covers me when we leave. When I leave the house, she covers all of us. In green light, she sing green light. So that's how I know if I get this nervous feeling, I'll sing green light. I didn't do it that time. You feel what I'm saying? It didn't even dawn on me, hey, do the green light. You feel me? So, details for the person. I know we went into a whole other thing. I don't know why we went there, but we went there. Pay attention to details. Somebody asked you, how do you dream? Again, that's a tricky question because a lot of people ask me that. I got to be honest with you. I don't really know the answer to that because I've never experienced where I don't dream. So I don't think I'm the best person to answer that particular question because I've never experienced where I don't dream. So I'm sorry about that. Maybe you can get into, maybe contact me, reach out to me on Instagram. We can figure it out together. But other than that, all I can say is drink more water, exercise more, and stay up later, especially if you're not having to drive. Stay up later than you usually do. That allows for your body to crave the sleep realm more. And when you stay up later than you usually do, and you allow for yourself to be up when you're sleepy, you start running on fumes, ether, and you're literally tapping into theta state. So it may help you to be able to access whatever that next state is with Delta. When you slip past that NREM, it may help you to access that dream state if you're able to merge 2 realms together through that bridge called theta, which you can do by staying awake when you sleep. Again, that's my best advice or piece or gem I can give you with that because I've never experienced not dreaming myself. Maybe other people have.
Yeah, I got a book. I wrote a book called The Dream Scroll, and do my research of doing it myself. How I get into the dream state. If I don't get a dream state when I first fall asleep, what I do is like sleep 4 hours, right, and then I just get up and then make myself come like fully awoke, right?
Yeah.
I may drink some water, stay up for a while, walk around to where my body is fully awoke. And then by 30, 40 minutes, right? And then go back to sleep. Now, once you go back to sleep, this automatically gonna drop you down to the low RAM. It's gonna project you automatically to the RAM. Now, whether you got enough fuel or not, because this is critical, and you probably already know all this. The sunlight is how you can get in there. It's the fuel you need to get into that RAM. That's why they don't want us to go outside. That's what vitamin D is all about. So, but that sunlight converts into melatonin into the pineal gland, and that melatonin is what sends you into that RAM. Melatonin is actually a fuel. It's a whole bunch of shit, but you can get into on it. But one thing is just a fuel to get you to that RAM. So most time when people ain't dreaming, they don't go outside and get another sunlight. Right. You know, then like I say, that second part is waking up at the 4 hours, walking around, go out, do some jumping jacks, get your blood flowing to wake you up, and then go lay back down and go to sleep. I guarantee you, you gonna, and then especially if you go and do like you said, I'm a dream. You definitely gonna go into a lucid state after that second level. Yeah. Like somebody got a question. They said, what you think about Andre 3000 album, y'all? He's on that green light movement, y'all. I ain't heard this. I didn't even know he had a new album, Andre.
I ain't heard it.
Yeah, I might go check that out. Because I think he moving on a good vibe. Andre 3000. Oh yeah, next question we got for you.
I say he's ahead of the game. What was the next question?
My next question is about the different hormones in the brain, because it's connected with all this connected with close encounters. Now I know we got different hormones, and when you with a girl, they always say we got chemistry, right? But people never ask, hey, what does that mean? Like, what does that mean when somebody say we got chemistry, and like connected with the different things in the brain? So could you go in on that, on how to release estrogen in a woman, or how to create that melatonin, make them laugh, all that? That's part of it. Could you go in a little bit on that? The rest,
I can. I want you to also, if you can remember for me, if you can remember for me, I want to talk about that Andre 3000 New Blue Sun concept situation. So I want to stream. They got was referred to as like they got the 4 feel good chemical releases, right? We have your serotonin, you have your endorphins, you have your oxytocin, and you have your dopamine. Okay, so a lot of people feel that, oh, you know, I can get a girl or a woman or even a man. Most of the time, it's the men who think this. You know, if I just, or women do too. If I just have sex with them, then we're gonna be good, right? They don't understand that even though you have your conversation of how much dopamine is required to do a certain thing, and you have different levels, and sex is compared to the drugs of some sort, which is really the orgasm, you know, that causes for that release or causes for that feeling of that drug. Sex releases a certain amount of dopamine, right? However, dopamine has, like every drug, because if you do it too often, it becomes a drug and you become addicted to it. There's a crash that takes place in that experience. So a lot of people try to figure out, damn, we having sex. Why isn't it, you know what I'm saying, working? Why is she getting upset with me, or why he getting upset with me, or why they don't have no love right now? What's going on? Well, the sex isn't enough. There has to be more of oxytocin at that point. More of an oxytocin release. Or I can give you a simple science that's very intricate and complex when you get into it. I broke the code of it. It's the science of Cupid's bow and arrow. Remember, as we're speaking about extraterrestrials, right? Cupid is an extraterrestrial. He's an angel. And he has technology that mankind may or may not have even known about when they even started to record about Cupid. And his technology in the form of a bow and arrow was able to, if you use the gold one, because a lot of people may not know, there was a gold arrow and there was a lead arrow. The gold one was the arrow that if it went into the man or the woman or both, it caused for them to fall in love with each other, right? The lead one was the poisonous one, where if you were shot with that, it caused you to fall out of love. Okay? This is technology. How is it technology? Well, first we got to get into the breakdown of the word oxytocin. Okay? So to say oxy is to say something that is sharp. Okay? Or a something pointed. Okay? If you were to say toxin, you're saying the same thing, but in the way you're saying it both. Okay? So you find the etymology of oxy and toxin, you'll find the words sharp and bow. Okay? Literally. So if you say oxytocin, you're saying a sharp bow. And if you go look at what oxytocin is, you'll find that it's like the love chemical. Say, hey, give me a hug. They give you a hug. Oxytocin is released during a hug. You understand? So when Cupid would shoot the people with that gold bow and arrow, it would cause for them to literally be or release oxytocin and that love chemical, and they were brought to each other, saying that there was some type of alteration of their destiny. That's what they're really saying. whether or not these people have the ability to literally go in and put something in your brain or send messages to your brain like we talked about earlier. Okay, so being able to bring someone to that state, it activates love, and love has more of a long-lasting effect. That chemical oxytocin has more of a long-lasting effect than just dopamine. Then you get into the serotonin, which still you can find seraph or seraphine in that, okay, as a messenger. You get into the serotonin, or the serotonin, and it allows for you to say, oh, I'm happy. Okay, you got this connection, this divine connection, this love connection with this person. Now you're feeling happy, all right? And you have to also know what causes for endorphins to be released, like exercise, okay? Because when the endorphins are released, people are able to heal themselves. A way I can help you remember that, when we say the word endorphin, okay? A life without the father is painful. So you say endorphin, you end the orphans and connect people back to the father, all right? The way that you can do that, if I want to help somebody who's dealing with demons, I have to be an exorcist. I have to exorcise the demons. One of the best ways to release endorphins is to exercise. So you shouldn't just be having sex with your mate. You should be hugging and loving on your mate. Other forms of intimacy that release oxytocin, all right? It could be even a massage, okay? You expose your mate to good music, good foods, good times, serotonin, all right? And you exercise with your mate. You run with your mate, endorphins. For you to get that full spectrum of love, which I know is harder to do in today's day and age, there's too much going on. But for you to get that full spectrum of love, you have to do more things that create the atmosphere for love. You understand? And if you want women to be able to exist in their feminine state, you have to create the atmosphere for them to be able to exist in it, which means that you can thrive as you would thrive when those 4 feel-good chemicals are active at healthy levels, and so would she be able to. Are you with me? And if you're concerned about melatonin and all of that, make sure that you're getting enough rest. Make sure that you're out in the sun, okay? Increase your levels of vitamin K, okay, which the sun's rays will help you with that. Increase your levels of vitamin D, which also the sun's levels will help you with that. And one more thing I can tell you is make sure your brain, your mind is in the right place when you're dealing with your mate, okay? Because you can speak love and life over them. You know, it might get hot and heavy in the bedroom, whatever, you do your thing, everybody got their thing. Remember, green light, surround yourself with it. You understand? So that every part of you that needs to be enhanced. For you, it will be your testosterone if you're a man. For her estrogen if she's a woman. If any one of those levels is off, you become more of a woman, she become more of a man. She started experiencing more and more testosterone. Not to say that there aren't women who naturally have higher levels. So I hope people don't think I'm trying to disrespect them. Okay? There are women who naturally have higher levels of testosterone, some, and then there are some men who naturally have higher levels of estrogen. Okay? Exercise balances that out. For you men, all right, your resistance training and all of that increases testosterone. For you sisters, cardio, your Kegels, all of that, your yoga, it helps for the flow that allows for that estrogen to continue to build. All right, more of your water. It's a many different things we're going to that allows for the women. It's just helping them to feel feminine. You feel what I'm saying? Because how you feel. Go ahead.
Yeah, hey, aphrodisiacs. You know anything about those? Like I was doing research on it, like chocolate, like dark chocolate. Some say ice cream, all this. I heard a lot of stories, but what you got on the aphrodisiac? Because coconut water is like the main one I heard that was like a natural, like stimulants or whatever. So what you got on that?
I have not a single thing. You the teacher at this point. I don't know anything about aphrodisiacs.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Somebody was asking that in the crowd because I talked about it before. Because all the stuff you're talking about, I put it in the Ascension manual on releasing the dopamines and all that, right? Serotonin and how the chemistry, everything you just said is like you gave me more on it, and to what I said in the book, right? And yeah, so because man, you just make that shit sound real good, like how you put it and how you put the serotonin and all that. Yeah. So this is what I want to ask you. So you focus when you focus on that and you hug it. I'm with you, man. Everything you said is that's the truth, man. Like the hugging, just sending that energy, exchanging the heart chakra energy, all that. So I guess the question that I got is, I forgot because you told me to ask you about the
Blue Moon.
I ask you this one.
Blue Sun.
The Blue Sun and the Andre 3000 thing.
That's what I mean. Blue Sun.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
His album is called New Blue Sun. So I was saying, I appreciate that. He is ahead of the game because remember we'll come after the green, the blue. Remember we got the green light movement. We got to get this going. It's going to last longer than what people may think because we got to get people there. A lot of people ain't even at the sacred or the root yet. So the green light is to help people. It's a magnetism. It's like a magnet that's going to pull people toward the green light. It being out here like that. But he coming forth with the New Blue Sun. As a matter of fact, when he released it, he was doing the New Blue Sun album. He actually appeared in all green. You feel what I'm saying? He appeared to the people in all green. And I was explaining to people that when you get on that mountain, like in Revelation chapter 14, okay, Revelation chapter 14, you read 1, 2, 3, and 4, it spoke about the 144,000, the people who had reached that 9 point. The 144,000 were literally able to sing a song as it were a new song that only the 144,000 could learn. We're speaking about a different type of tone. The heart is all about your healing, okay? It's all about your ability to heal the self and come from the lower planes into the higher planes and cross over into the new heaven and the new earth. That's what the heart chakra or the heart point or cycle or wheel or loop is all about. What comes after that, which is the Vishuddha or the throat chakra, that is all about purity. Go look it up. In Sanskrit, you'll find that it meant purity. And it's all about singing a new song or a different type of resonance coming from your voice. A lot of people say, Faise, you know, you're a good orator, da-da-da-da. Okay, there's a lot of work that you have to go through to be able to get to that point. You understand? For when you open your mouth, there's something that takes place where every piece of information is passing through that blue light. You feel what I'm saying? Which is that chakra point or the throat chakra point. So when he's saying New Blue Sun, all I see is the throat chakra, which is at that point, when you say sun, think of the word S-O-N, and think of the word S-O-N-I-C, and think of the word S-O-U-N-D, sound. Okay? And that sound was a sound that was going to help mankind or women or human beings be redeemed from the earth. It will help with the redemption. Now you've already gone through the passage. Now you have a rite of passage. Now you have the pen in your hand, and you have the rite of passage that will be new. I will make all things new. And only the 144,000 could experience that. Okay, in order for them to open their mouths and let off a song that was that pure, okay, that was that wholesome, that allowed for them to be redeemed, they had to have gone through, right, the virtuous walk of life, which when you get into the conversation of the nuns, okay, because the nuns are the ones who say they're saving themselves for Christ or saving themselves for the wedding of the Lamb, okay? Now, why is that important? Because when you say the word nun, phonetically, you're saying the word nine. Okay, nun, 9. And 9 is 144, 144,000. And they spoke about the 144,000 in Revelation chapter 14, verse 4. And that Revelation chapter 14, verse 4 spoke about the women, all right, or the people who had not yet been defiled by women. And their women in that regard was saying Jezebel or the harlot or all of the things of the world. Okay, it's the patriarchy, so that's the angle they're going to come from. So they were basically saying those who have not got in bed with the harlot or the beast, who figured out either they maintained their virtuosity or they redeemed themselves from having interacted with a lost world of Babylon. Are you with me? So they said, Revelation 14:4, these are they which have not yet been defiled, for they are the what? Virgins. Are nuns virgins? Exactly. So nun, 9, you're coming out of the 6 into the 9. Okay, you're coming out of the sex force to be like the nuns. But everybody make fun of the nuns. But if you look at who the nuns are, only thing is they didn't have what? The true light, and you could tell that because they dressed in all black. The only thing they're missing was the white, all white, if you get what I'm saying in allegory. Because the nuns are none other than the Muslims. They're the same. They're the ones who are adorned and prepared for the wedding. But the nuns dressing all black, that's the wrong color. They told you what to wear. They told you to wear your all white, which is a certain type of frequency. Are you with me? So the new blue sun is a new blue sound, and that is true because we will be forming a new sound after the science of the green light has been spread out through the rest of this plane. And it's going to be done through music. And it's going to be done through all of our platforms. And the fact that every one of you who did and who are going to went out and got green lights and put them in your homes. Are you with me? You started to prepare a new world, a new heaven, which really at this point will be a new earth because it's a new plane before you get to that heaven, which would have been the yield of the crown. Okay? So for those of you who remember the Close Encounters movie, when they went, before they even went to the mountain, what started to happen? All of, including the main character, all of the ones who made it to the mountain, they started to receive these messages or images in their brain, and they couldn't shake it. It all was about a mountain, all right? Or an elevated plane, okay? Which really, they put it in the movie as Devil's Tower because Shaitan, why not? You know, it was an elevated plane on a mountain, which is Mount Zion or Mount Sion in the book of Revelation. Go read it. Revelation chapter 14. All right? So they kept being led to the mountain. They didn't know why. The nigga started tripping out. He became crazy. He going out to the neighbors. He getting all their shit. He grabbing dust and dirt and pieces of leaves, and he building whatever it is in his mind. He started drawing the images. He couldn't get it out of his mind what this mountain was. Like Pop said in the mothership teaching. He said, all of you been like driven to the ship. You know that there's something else here. For those of you who know, you feel it in your essence. You have this drive that said, I know I'm not alone in the earth plane. And you keep finding yourself to different pieces to figure out what that is that you feel. Okay, in that movie, they went to the top of the mountain. Remember, they showed you a glimpse of what appeared to be the same glimpse that they showed you with the Crown Syndrome, where they all had on the suits, and they said it was a gas out, and you couldn't breathe the gas, and all the cows were laid out, and every animal was supposed to be dead, but they were really just asleep because they were driving around in this helicopter, flying around in this helicopter, spraying this sleep gas. All right? They had to evade the sleep gas. They had to stay awake. And when they finally got to the top of the mountain, it was all about the tone, the sound. When that New Jerusalem or that Crystal City came down and parked over that mountain, it started to communicate with those scientists using sound. Are you with me? Why is that important? Because you go back and listen to it, it sounds like a flute, then it sounds like a trumpet. Okay? What Andre 3000 say he was going to be playing for his album? A flute. I dare you to go listen to the videos with the Rural Zimbabwe children that I mentioned earlier. One of the little girls said the craft that was up above them that they saw made sounds. They said, what were the sounds like? She said, like somebody was playing the flute. Are y'all with me? Do y'all get what I'm saying? Because in the movie Close Encounters, go back and watch it again. In the movie Close Encounters, it was all about Revelation chapter 14. Those who heard the call. And they made it to the mountaintop, and they were able to witness God in true form and who they really are. And they were able to hear the tones. And they went around trying to figure out who was experiencing what. All these people with the government, and they were asking people, what did you hear? They said they was meditating the sounds. Go watch the movie again, you'll see what I'm saying. They were meditating the sounds. They said, kara, kara, re, kara, kara, re. Because those were the sounds that they were hearing. They were putting words to them. Are you with me? They asked them, they said, where did these sounds come from? They pointed upward. They said above, upward, up there. All right? Now, I don't know how many of you have heard it, but when I was younger, I heard them sounds. Not that specific melody, but I heard the flute. I've also experienced the trumpet, which is the thunder. How many of you have experienced a boom that came out of nowhere in the sky? And it wasn't thundering. There was no lightning. There was no rain. there was just a boom. And then you go outside and say, what the fuck was that? Anybody ever experienced that? I'm just asking these questions so that y'all can keep in mind, if you've heard sounds like pianos coming from the sky, if you heard a sonic boom over your home, that wasn't thunder. Sometimes when the crafts dip out, they dip out so fast, they create what's called a sonic boom. Or sometimes they'll let off a message just to see if you're going to come outside. Now, I've seen a craft fly over my home being shielded by a single cloud, but there was a beam of light coming around the cloud. The cloud was even shaped like a disc. Now, if I'm tripping, and if Pops was tripping when he said UFO, he said cloaked ships, the book called Cloaked Ships, are they UFOs? Go watch the movie Close Encounters, which is what this is about, and you will see that the scene where they came to get the little boy, they were coming with clouds. And the biblical scripture says, for he cometh with clouds. You go read the book of Acts chapter 1 verse 9, and they said he left on a cloud. You go read the book of Mark chapter 9, you're going to see a cloud. This is how they cloak themselves, because for one, they say human beings, like Haim and Shade was talking with Trump and the rest of them, said human beings are not ready to know yet. They're not ready to know who God is, but that's what the whole revelation is about. They have to reveal themselves. Go watch the movie Chicken Little. The sky, remember the sky rolls back, and then you really get to see who out there. They've been veiling themselves. Okay? So all I'm saying is, if you can read the realm, that's what I taught everybody who's been walking with me how to do. So it might be new to some of y'all. They're like, what does this have to do with Andre 3000? He's ahead of the game. But go look at the fact that he was wearing green when he said he's gonna do this New Blue Sun album, and he wants to play the flute. It's all about tones, and we haven't got there yet or gotten there yet. We will get there. Remember, it's all about forming a new heaven and a new earth, or allowing for new heaven and a new earth to exist, which means there has to be a new sound, new information, new way of life. All of that it has to get there to that point. You feel me? Nuwapu came, Nuabu, the gold or the yellow, it came. You understand? And the one who brought you it, Malachi York, surrounded himself with green light. All right? This is one of the ways you make contact, green light. And they make contact with you. Don't believe me? Be patient and hear me. Because I wouldn't tell you anything I haven't already experienced. I know we're not by ourselves. A lot of people have to believe in extraterrestrials. I don't. I know we're not the only beings here. I don't speak on sleep paralysis and none of that stuff from some shit I read. I experienced it, and when I experienced it, I paid attention to details. I know I'm not tripping. I know I'm not tripping. I know I heard somebody say my name. I know when I was laying on my floor, hands reached up from my floor, held my body down as three elders walked through my wall. They looked like stencils, pencil sketched, but I saw they froze, and I saw their facial features, and they shook their head looking at me, and their whole thing was, when they shook their head, was them telling me that, they said, see, they were like, see, because they were telling me that the same beings who reached up and grabbed hold of me are the same beings that are waiting for people to cross over when they leave their body. And the only thing I could say to them at that point was, shit, I said, just don't leave me here. If this is what if this was, I don't know why. People ask me all the time, I have no idea why human beings are even preyed upon during sleep paralysis. I don't know who allowed it to happen. I'm not over that. I just told them, don't leave me here. Because it was three elders. They came through the wall as Shaitan and them. Well, this ain't no dream, no astral projection, no shrooms. I was wide awake. You understand? And they said, see? So everything I'm telling you is from experience. Some of you may experience more than I experienced. Some of y'all may get to the point or may not get to the point where not only do you get on a craft, they might let your ass take out your phone and record them. That's why I keep telling you, remember, this ain't spiritual, right? The niggas pulled up over my house. Your government ain't shooting at spirits in the sky. Your government don't have a whole program in a black vault, top secret, about spirits. The Romans didn't say we saw flying shields and they were spirits. They said, nigga, we was at war. We were fighting each other. And something came and stopped. It was a burning pot in the sky. They said a burning pot came and separated them in their war. Scared the shit out of everybody. The Romans documented this shit in like the year 47. I'm telling you, go look up everything. You don't believe me? That's fine. I don't want you to. Go look up Romans flying shields. That's the government of the U.S. That's NASA. 10,000 years ago, you see the shit on cave walls. The Sumerians talked about it. The ancient Egyptians said they saw boats flying in the sky. You bring up the Dogon tribe and have the nerve to tell us that we're the only people that's here. When the Dogon tribe said they saw an ark come down like a whirlwind out of the sky with people on it, that told them about starships and star constellations and interstellar travel and all of that, the Sirius B and all of that, before your scientists or the astronomers of today even knew what that was. You understand? Every biblical story is an extraterrestrial story. The whole purpose of saying that it's a divinely inspired book is to say that there's some beings who were not from Earth or from the earth plane that gave you these revelations. Okay. You understand? So the whole point for people to remember is you can contact them. They got a movie called Don't Look Up. I say don't listen to them. Look up. It's the shadow hour. It should be for everybody or for most people. Or whenever you see this, wait till the shadow hour. Be patient. Go outside. It might be a little colder now. I advise people to do this during the summertime when it's not cold. But if it's colder, layer up. Go outside and look up. And by up, I mean up. I'm not saying diagonally. I'm not saying near the horizon. I'm saying right up there, which is really outward. That's where less light is, especially if you're in a city. Less light is directly up, and they travel all the time over your head. Listen.
Do they, Faise?
Listen. They travel all the time. This ain't no, you see this, you got to catch it like 75 years with Hellbop. All the time. And I've shown people in real time now. Listen, I've shown people in real time the crafts. Multiple people at a time. I've shown, or individually, I've shown them the crafts. They fly different ways. It'll look like, let me tell you what you might see. You might see something that seems like it's moving through water. He said, that's a light, but the shit look like it's moving through water. It don't even move how your objects move. It moves like water. Sometimes they'll change the trajectory. Sometimes they'll come in, shine a light, and then dip out where they came. Sometimes they'll come in, and then you'll see them shoot off. Sometimes they'll come in, and they'll just disappear. Sometimes they'll come in and just sit. You be like, I know that motherfucker was just moving. Okay, it know it was moving too, and they watching you. You want to know when you can see them or why you can see them or why you can't see them? How about go outside and ask them that? Before you or we had the internet, any of this stuff, the phones, satellites, your ancestors documented the Kachina. Your ancestors documented the Elohim or the Najaru, the Nataru, the angels. And they said they flew around in thunderbirds. Well, they didn't know what the fuck it was, so they called it a thunderbird. Because it's a bird, it flies, and the shit makes a sound like a sonic boom. You the only people in history, you people of today are the only people who are not in contact with those people. And it's different races, different people from all over. You the only people who your government of today's day and age won't even allow you to know that it's real. You the only people. Because before this dominating ass age of people, dictators disguised as democracies, or dictatorships disguised as democracies, before that day and time, Everybody knew. Everybody knew. The shamans had the ability to leave their body and go to the craft and come back with a message for you. Some people said, yo, Abraham's story, they said 3 men appeared on the mountain with Abraham. They sat down, they had food. Niggas had a whole lunch date on top of the mountain with extraterrestrials. They made a joke, which really wasn't no joke. Because really said, yo, I'm going to come back here in a year and your wife Sarah going to be pregnant. Sarah laughed. She was like, how am I going to be pregnant at my old age? The angel responded to her. This could have been no spirit in Abraham's vision. The angel responded and said, no, he said, why she laughing? And Sarah was like, I didn't laugh. That nigga said, yes, the fuck you did laugh. Go read it, I'm telling you. The nigga said, yes, you did. You did laugh. Okay, are we going to gloss over the fact that he said he going to come back and smash his wife? And she going to be pregnant? Or he going to cause for an insemination of some sort that causes her to be pregnant? How the fuck is he going to do that? How did Rebecca get pregnant? How did Mary get pregnant? How did Bathanos get pregnant? Wait a minute. There's a lot of extraterrestrial activity recorded in the Lamech scroll, in the Book of Giants. It's like it's everywhere. And y'all really think your government was smart enough to make that shit up? When they can't even make up a lie to tell you when it comes to the melanin dominant gene as opposed to the melanin recessive gene that holds up past 50 years, they can't even make a lie to tell you to make you think that you as a melanin dominant person would really be 3/5 of a human being, whether you were speaking about state representative votes or the actual melanin dominant gene. Neither one of them bitches made sense. You think they can make up extraterrestrial life? You think they can make up God? They didn't make it up. I wish I could just grab everybody at one time and just shake y'all and show you my brain. Now, that doesn't mean only look up, because there's a parable that says there's a man who looks up only. The man with his head in the clouds trips over the roots of the trees. I'm not telling you only look up. I'm telling you the reason why the motherfuckers came out with the movie Don't Look Up is because I'm the motherfucker that kept telling people, just look up. Just look up. They're there. Why? I don't damn know. I mean, I have an idea because I feel that they already know, for one, if they come too close, they'll be shot at. But you got videos all over the web that cameras have captured where a craft comes in and a light went off and some shit shot past it and the craft had to evade. Your government will shoot at them. Anything that enters into what they think is their airspace, your government shoots at, because for some delusional reason, they think they own Tiamat. And this is why we keep trying to remind them, listen, I'm going to say it like this and then we're going to leave it at that. Okay? You may think capturing us, killing us, whatever, because remember you had J. Edgar Hoover with his counterintelligence program. He was looking for extraterrestrials. He didn't want to tell y'all. All right, but you go look it up and you'll find that J. Edgar Hoover was one of the first people who knew about anytime there was an extraterrestrial encounter, they sent it to his desk. He all throughout the FBI documents and vaults that they came out and let y'all see about, which I don't know why people didn't really want to come out and touch on that. All the Disclosure Project, all that, J. Edgar Hoover, all over that. Supposed to be somebody who just the FBI person, but he wasn't. That's why they had the Men in Black movie, because it was all about what the FBI really is involved in, not this little criminal ass shit. They don't give a fuck about that. That's just the cloak. The real operations happen behind the scenes in black or in darkness or in the secret, where they really are looking for extraterrestrial incarnates to kill them, capture them, imprison them, stop them some type of way to be able to neutralize whatever would have come from the prophecies that they read. That's why in the counterintelligence program, they said they wanted to stop the rise or prevent the rise of a Messiah, okay, who would electrify and unify the black nationalist movement. They used the word Messiah for a reason. If I'm tripping, then tell me why J. Edgar Hoover is all over the extraterrestrial files, talking to all the presidents about what's happening with the extraterrestrial activity. Okay? J. Edgar Hoover is like the herald of your day and time, or was the herald of your day and time. And anybody who's orchestrating the directors of FBI at this point and the CIA at this point, they're herald. Their whole thing is to stop anybody who could be getting messages from the gods or be a god themselves potentially. You don't have to believe me. They didn't make them movies up for no reason. Man Who Fell to Earth is a documentary. Are you with me? And they don't want you to know this. That's why they hide it in the movies like Men in Black to make you think it's just TV. But the Men in Black was the FBI. Remember, they used to wear the suits. And the nigga Edgar in the movie who was the bug is J. Edgar Hoover's whole program. Because they used to use the bugs and the wires to spy on and see what people is speaking on and got going on behind the scenes. They would bug somebody's house. So Edgar appears as a bug because that's what the FBI was known for doing. But why were they doing that? They were trying to catch the extraterrestrial encounters on recording because there were people who were saying, I spoke to God in my room. 3 men came to me in my room and talked to me. Or Al-Qadir came to me, or Melchizedek came to me in my room and talked to me. They were trying to catch that. That's why in the Man Who Fell to Earth TV series, they showed you where there was a tornado that they would both step into. And when they stepped into that tornado, none of the FBI agents or the CIA, which is it's very important that you know that they made it be that it was the CIA in that TV show, neither one of them could pick up on whatever was being said inside that void. The tornado spawned and caused a disruption in their grid. They weren't able to pick up the frequencies or the messages in their airwaves. You understand? So it's really important that you pay attention to them types of TV shows and movies because that's where they hiding all the shit at. So contact, look up, green light. You can contact them in the lucid dreaming realm. Just ask them to show themselves. If you need a key, here go a gem. When you go to the lucid dreaming realm, ask for the oracle. Ask for an oracle. When you learn how to lucid dream finally, or if you know how to lucid dream, when you're doing that, you need to ask for an oracle or ask them to show you. And if you don't know who them is, say God or whatever is comfortable with you, or just say the statement, show me what I need to see. They go, listen, let me tell you something else. You're going to start having experiences just because we talked today. Just because I spoke to you today, and if you heard this recording, you're going to start having lucid dreams. You're going to experience astral projection. You're going to be able to evade the darker realms associated with those planes. It's going to happen just because you listen to me. Not listen to me like believe me, but listen to me because my voice has the codes in it. Sleep incubation, they'll come to you. That's why I say patient, be patient. They'll come to you. If they're supposed to come to you, they'll come to you. If you want to expedite it, clean up your environment, clean up your home, surround yourself with green light, meditate more, drink more water, whatever you need to do. But they'll find their way to you if they're supposed to find their way to you. Or you'll find your way home if you're supposed to find your way home. And you'll get what I mean. This ain't no everybody getting on no ship to leave prophecy. This is, if you hear me, you hear me. Because they hear me. If you hear me, you hear me because they hear me now. Are you with me? And the last thing I can tell you, which ties into that New Blue Sun thing, is your tones. 528 hertz, 432 hertz, meditation tapes. Play the Dr. York meditation. There's different ways that you can prime the environment that you're in. That they say, yo, I can send them messages. Or I know that they're listening to, or they want to be contacted. Some of y'all already had the experiences. I'm not saying something. Some of y'all, this ain't new. Some of you already had the experiences where they took you up to different planets or different places and showed you different things. It might have been in a dream. Some of you were children. You got to think back. You saw somebody in your room, or you saw somebody in your yard watching you. And you looked and looked again and they were gone. Okay, you weren't tripping. That's all I want to tell you. Somebody, you were standing at your house and you looked over your roof and there was a craft there. You didn't know what it was, but it zipped off. They were watching. That's all. They were watching you. Okay, somebody, you were in your room and they came through your wall or through your door and they spoke to you and you thought you had an imaginary friend. Some of y'all, you were like when I was 4 years old, you were laying on your floor and you saw them up under your bed. There was somebody that came up. I was 4 years old, laying on my wooden floor, right? Looked under my bed and there was 2 purple eyes that started to come out from beneath the bed. and I screamed and called my umi. Sometimes I wish I didn't do that. Sometimes I wish I just would have stopped to see who it was and what they had to say. Because as soon as I called my umi, they went away. You know what I'm saying? She came in, turned the light on, it wasn't nothing but toys under my bed. I was confused as fuck because I know what I saw. But they looked like huge cat-shaped eyes. Purple. They were glowing. Some of y'all done had them encounters. Okay? So don't think you're crazy. Just remember that if you were even hearing this voice right now, you're hearing the voice of somebody else who may share similar experiences with you. You're not alone. We're still trying to figure certain things out for the rest of everybody else. But there's a certain type of memory that's activated when you find out that somebody else has experienced what you've experienced. And that's why you needed to hear that. Okay? There's a certain type of memory. And that memory activates something else. So you say, I'm going to find out why I'm here. And I'm going to find out if, let me say this, if you needed to know that they were going to destroy this plane, this is the message to these people who are listening. Okay? Not y'all. I'm talking about them. You can try to kill us. You can try to imprison us. You can try to lock us up. You can try to defame this person, make the people turn over it. It does not matter what you do. We have already decided what is going to happen to your earth plane. It does not matter what you do. You cannot stop God. All you can do is convince yourself that you can delay God, but you didn't read it. Because in the book from the extraterrestrials called the Quran, it was written, and it said, nobody can delay the time or cause for the time to come sooner before we destroy a place. So for you, all your efforts were in vain. That's why you're trying to leave. That's why you're trying to leave. They're trying to leave. They're not telling y'all. Right now, they're trying to leave. Their whole thing is they finding whatever way they can to leave. Go read the book Amos chapter 9. We already told you they was going to do that. They said they were going to try to escape through the sky, and God's hand would smack them down. They were going to try to escape through the waters like Project, Ocean Gate. Okay? They were trying to escape through the waters, and they said God was going to tell the serpent people that you find in the movie Abyss, and you also find in the movie Aquaman, which is really just to say people who are living in the water. They said they were going to command the serpent to bite them. They said they were going to try to lead through different ways, and it would not work. Okay, and so for the rest of you, here's what your task is: to adhere to the messengers, adhere to the messages of the messengers that came through to you. Make sure your soul is right, so that even upon the moment of your transition that you don't see the physical ascension, you see another type of ascension where when you leave your body, you're not surrounded by those beings that I saw. Simple. If you know sleep paralysis is real and you experience demons during sleep paralysis, okay, but you're able to come back to your body, please take note of what I'm saying. Those beings don't go anywhere. You just come back to your body. That's your grace. That's your grace. I don't know who set this up, how. I wish I had that answer. However, I don't have the authority to shut that down. Your grace is you can come back to your body. That means you need to get whatever that frequency is up off you that those beings were privy to. Listen, I haven't experienced sleep paralysis. The higher you go up, you stop experiencing it. That's from me to you. Okay? And the last thing I'll say is make sure your tones are in order as a people, and you're going to experience a destruction of the delusion and the illusion. You have yet to try 144,000 people. So don't say it doesn't work. Don't try to belittle the Christians because it's in their book. Okay? Because in all actuality, it's not their book. It's anybody's book who picks it up and read it and figure out how to understand it and decipher or decipher what it meant. So we said take 144,000 of you and go up onto this elevated plane and let out this tone. Where are the 144,000? Where is that plane, Mount Zion? Where is it in actuality? And what is that sound that you got to let off? Remember, only the 144,000 would learn it. Not everybody would learn it. What happens after the 144,000 learned that tone? They said the redemption would take place, and it was a resounding sound that came from the heavens. You have not experienced this yet. And so to shut it down without trying is lazy. See if it works first, or give us something else. Because not everybody wants to leave what we're looking at right here for the future inhabitants of the earth plane. We don't want to leave it this way. The incarnates don't want to leave it this way. The earth people don't want to leave it this way. The subterrestrial people don't want you to leave it this way because it's affecting business that you may not understand. That's why they gave people like Richard Byrd certain messages. Say, go back and tell them. Interestingly enough, it was the master who said it in the Richard Byrd Missing Diaries. They said, go back and tell those people we're watching them. Okay? So if you're curious about extraterrestrials and UFOs, first deal with the fact that the UFO word just means you don't know. That's all it means. UFO ain't always talking about extraterrestrials. You could be looking at a stealth bomber, you know what I'm saying, a balloon, whatever. It could be some shit that somebody just let off as a drone to fool you. So don't automatically assume that when you see some shit as a UFO. Ask for the true light to be revealed. Go watch the movie Phenomenon and you'll get what I mean by that. Ask for the true light to be revealed. Go watch the movie Phenomenon. And for everybody that's listening, just look up, meditate more, ask for them to reveal themselves to you. If you got to say God, say God. If you got to say ETs, say ETs. Whatever you need to say, they already know that you're listening right now. Say, I want to know who y'all are. And they'll find their way to you. And you need to think, because it might have been the person that walked past you and asked you for some money. Remember the movie John Wick? It's all about surveillance with the homeless people. The ones who use the pigeons as cameras. It's all about surveillance. Remember Frog from the They Clone Tyrone? And the fact that your elders told you, don't ignore the homeless people. They might be angels. Watchers. This whole shit is a project. The whole earth plane is a project. You didn't create it. So you do need it. I had a song called Don't Mind Me when I was like 15 years old. And one of my lyrics was, the goal for me was to get in touch with who designed the battlefield. I didn't design this. Not to my conscious recollection. Okay? So don't spiritualize or mystify extraterrestrials. Deal with it as if you know somebody who was coming in from Mexico, or you knew somebody who was coming in from Europe, or if you knew somebody who was coming in from Asia. Deal with it like how you say those are aliens. Deal with it that way. Because in all actuality, you may have been dealing with or have dealt with somebody who was coming from another world, as in a continent that you didn't even know existed. Stop spiritualizing it, they can reach you. You spiritualize it, you won't know what you're looking at. You understand? Because we said flesh. He comes in the flesh. We come in the flesh. She comes in the flesh. That's what they said in the book. All right. So this is good news, though, because if we having this conversation, all right, they wanted more people to get in contact. Don't leave it up to Stephen Greer. You do it. That's why I'm asking the conscious community, what the fuck y'all waiting on? Y'all talking about the Orishas and all that. Do you know that the Orishas were said to be real people, not spirits, that had the ability to ascend out of the airplane? Well, get in contact with them. Find a way to do the CE5s, the Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, and bring these people here. Steve Greer should not be the only person doing it. And they shouldn't just be seen in areas like Nevada. Right. Going up on Stone Mountain, that should be one of the things you do. Tell people the tones necessary to call them down. They should be able to at least see them. Because that's what I've been able to do for people. Show them the crafts. Kill all this illusion, all right, so that people can finally say, well, if those crafts are there, well, we need to encounter, when people say close encounter of the fifth kind, we need it to be on that level because people need to be able to see, oh, these guys are real. And they keep saying they're not ready yet. But there needs to be a point in time where people can finally say, you know what? We need to embrace that this is a reality. We need to embrace that these things that we've been documented for hundreds of thousands of years It's not just some figment of our imagination. Why would they even want you to think that if they got all these projects to cover it up? You're not by yourself, which means God is real. His angels is real. That means that the devil is real. That means that the demons is real. And all this spiritualizing it don't help. People need to know the truth. I know we went over. I know we did 9 minutes apart. I appreciate you letting that stream through.
Oh no. Hey, I really got one more question for you because I was going to ask you on that, like the difference between devil, because people was asking that. Like, what's the difference between aliens and demons and ETs and angels, and like, what's the difference? Like, how do you know a extraterrestrial is a demon, this and that? Yeah, could you go over that a little bit before we get out of here?
Righteous. For one, it depends on where they were created, if they were created, or where they were grafted. For one. So a demon ain't nothing but saying a gray. You go look up the image of a gray and look at the image of a demon, you're looking at the same being. All right? So a lot of times people were saying demon, they were saying a gray alien. They didn't know what to call it. Your ancestors didn't know what to call it. You still don't know what to call it. You call it what the color of the pigment is. You know what I'm saying? Like seeing me say, oh, I saw a brown today. A brown, this is the pigment. You understand? So to look at a gray and say that because they look demonic, because you've already been given what the image of the demon is, and say that all demons do the same thing, is only due to lack of information. You have to know what types of demons do what, for one, and what type of grays have what type of charge behind them, because we were taught more. You had 4-figure grays, you had 5-figure grays. Some of them were on different missions than others. You had Meldekians, you had Rumadians. Their complexions varied. You understand? So it's all about where they were from. If they're not from Earth, that is an extraterrestrial, whether you call it a demon, a daemon, a guide, a kachina, an extraterrestrial, an Anunnaki, whatever. If they're not from Earth, okay, that means that's an alien or an extraterrestrial. Okay? If they didn't come from here, that's an alien. A demon, for you, would be somebody who is vicious to you in some way, shape, form, or fashion. So if you're dealing with a gray that is vicious to you, okay, then that's a demon. That's what you're trying to say. You have to remember that demons are a life form. They're a life form. They breathe. They eat. Okay, they crave things. Some of them crave sex. Some of them crave human flesh. They're real, though. And you experience them in different ways, like we went over before. So when you're speaking about a gray, that could be a demon. Okay, as far as what it does. But all of them are extraterrestrials if they're not from the earth plane. If they were created, grafted, or bred in the earth plane, it ain't an extraterrestrial. You might run into them thinking, oh, it's an extraterrestrial. You can say, nigga, I stay in Northeast America. You just don't know where that's at. You feel what I'm saying? So human beings think that we the motherfuckers that own the planet. If you were to go deep enough into Earth, you would find that there are other people who will look at you and say, what the fuck is that? It's an alien. Say, nigga, I'm not an alien. I'm from Earth. You understand? So that's when you get into the subterrestrial conversation that those people, a lot of people don't even know who y'all are or what y'all are. They'll look at you and think that you're weird. Okay? So when you're saying a demon, you're saying a certain type of life form, and they got different roles and different things they do. There are other grays who are on a mission just to figure out if they can get emotions because they don't have emotions. So they want to upgrade, so they go on certain missions to get an upgrade, and then they were able to get that upgrade to say now they can experience emotions. Other grades want to take your children and study them, and they don't know what it means the same way human beings don't know what it means. You'll say it's fucked up if a grade comes and abducts a child. Like they showed you in the movie Fourth Kind, okay, with a grade, they actually had it on camera where one of the crafts came over the woman's house. It was actually a documentary, okay, not a movie. All right, one of the crafts came over the sister's house or the white lady's house and took her child. And it distorted the cameras, but you were able to see the craft come in. You said that's fucked up. They took her child. Okay, it was also fucked up that you took the child of the cow, of the cow. You took the cow from his mother. Nobody says it's fucked up because you don't think that it matters. Okay, when you start realizing how primitive human beings are, a lot of beings see y'all that same way. It's waste of space that ain't good for nothing but food and entertainment. You feel what I'm saying? So it's the same way with the cows and the wolves and lions and tigers and all the other shit. The motherfuckers are captured and put in a zoo or ate and all that. It's you know, they go hunting the same way we go hunting. I don't hunt. Somebody offered me to go hunt. They say, yo, I want you to come with me. Da, da, da. I said, do what? They said, we're going to shoot deer. I said, But the fuck, why? I don't understand. Why the fuck would we do that? Because it's hunting. Exactly. Something is wrong with you. You go out and you kill somebody's family member. You say it's just an animal. You're a part of the animal kingdom. You're an animal. Don't tell me animals don't feel pain. Don't tell me animals don't run away from you human beings. All right? And you have to ask yourself, why do they run away from some of us and not others? Because there's a certain type of memory that you don't have. In their essence, there's a visceral knowledge of who and what you are and what you're capable of. So if you're capable of picking up a gun and just shooting somebody for no fucking reason, and you say it's not somebody, it's a deer. The body is the deer's body. It is a person. It has eyes, which are windows to the soul. It has a brain. It can cry. It's alive. Which means if you would have killed that deer in front of his mother or his father or his child, the people who are left behind are going to mourn that deer. You don't think nothing of that. Okay, so stop crying when they come and take the children. Why do you cry when they come and take the children? But I don't think human beings want to think about the fact, they hate to think about the fact that they could be hunted. Go watch the movie Prey, and you'll get what I'm saying. There's a movie Prey. Prey. There were beings who came down, according to what was documented, that literally hunted human beings for fun. For fun. They were apex predators. Human beings couldn't do shit. These motherfuckers, they made a movie called Predators. They had invisibility technology, quantum stealth tech. They had advanced weapons, thermal readers. And one shit human beings could do except die. You understand? So you put the deer up against human beings, they can't defend themselves. That's the same situation y'all dealing with. Because when they make that call, ain't nothing anybody could do. It wasn't nothing the dinosaurs could do. It wasn't nothing the people in Sodom and Gomorrah could do. It wasn't nothing you could do. That's what they call judgment. That's why they said, protect yourself from the fire, the flame, whose fuel is people and stones. That's a hell of a weapon. And they've used it many times before. Okay? And I feel it. There's a conversation about it now. And the only deferring factor will be whether or not human beings realize that they are regressing to animalistic nature, which means that there's no use for you. Because it's that animalistic human being that's destroying the earth. And when you start destroying the earth itself, the resource itself, not only will natural selection try to get rid of you, there are other beings who come to regulate that because the earth is needed. Go watch the movie The Day the Earth Stood Still. They said, if human beings die, the earth lives. If the earth dies, the human beings die too. So when they weigh out who to get rid of, which one you think they're going to choose? This ain't the first time this has been done. People wouldn't remember. It's not too much recordings left, but you got the books to tell you, but nobody want to hear it. It's not the first time. You feel me? So it's all about taking control over your ground. Don't regress. Okay? You got to take care of the planet, and you got to teach your children to take care of it. These demons, these people in power, they don't give a fuck. They're not even the type to give a fuck. They claim that they just want to survive, but they're taking too much from her. They're affecting her atmosphere. Natural selection would have gotten rid of you a long time ago. If you didn't have AC, all right, the ability to alter the environment yourself, a lot of you would have been perished generations ago. If you didn't have asthma medicine, myself included, we would have been gone. Without asthma medicine, a lot of us would have died a long time ago. Natural selection, the atmosphere is already killing a lot of us off. The environment has already said enough is enough. But mankind fights back with their medicine. and fights back with their atmospheric alterations, and fights back with their dome programs, and fights back with their vaccine. They fight back, but again, you can only fight back on the plane that's solid. You can't fight back when that whole plane is set aflame. Are you with me? So to answer the question, demons are extraterrestrial if they're not from the earth plane. If they were bred in or grafted or created in the earth plane, they are terrestrials. So all of this weird extraterrestrial shit, cut it out. If you were born in Atlanta, Georgia, nigga, your ass is not an alien. You know what I'm saying? Now, you may be an incarnate, that's a different conversation. Few people know that. If you're an incarnate, yes, then that means that your body is being operated by another being that may be on a craft somewhere. You know, that's a possibility, and your government knows that. For the most part, you from here and then you from Michigan. You know what I'm saying? We're aliens, we're extraterrestrials. No, they out there. They got all kind of other shit going on. And your governments are paying attention to them more now. You understand when they say, yo, we saw these people on there, they look like African Americans. You know, we were there, we seen this, and it's rural Zimbabwe. They know you're here. We saw black people on this crap. They know you're here. Meaning the melanin dominant ones. All right? So just remember, if they ain't from here, that's an extraterrestrial. That's angels, Jesus, whoever. If they ain't from Earth, that's an extraterrestrial. If they are from here, that's a terrestrial. That's what the keyword extra is. Beyond terrestrial, or the terrain, the Earth. Are you with me? And one more thing, you might run into a grave and get to running and screaming, and that might have been a motherfucker who got to take your name down so that you can get on the craft. I'm not telling you to believe me. I'm just saying this is where you get into. You think you know a being just because you see their genetic makeup. If they appear like a demon, that don't mean they're demonic. That might just be the genetic makeup of whatever that being or whoever that being is. So you take stereotype to a whole nother level and say, oh shit, a grave. You motherfucker's a devil. He's like, nigga, the devil? We fought them 2,000 years ago. Nigga, what the fuck are you talking about? We just looking like, that's my brother. You know, that's why you said telepathically inclined. Because if you telepathically inclined, they'll be able to talk to you and say, nigga, I am not the devil. Nigga, what the fuck are you talking about? I ain't no damn devil. That's Lucifer there. My name Michael, nigga. So what would you be able to do if you saw Michael and they look like that? A lot of people be fucking scared. They would not know. You feel what I'm saying? So that'd be one of the best. That's why they were saying one of the best ways to cloak a motherfucker who was Jesus is to send her as a woman. Send Jesus as a woman. When nobody respect her, none of that. You know, everybody would just shut her down and act like what she said don't matter. She talked too much. Blah, blah, blah. Let it be a man. Oh, we a good king, and you know what I'm saying. We so enlightened. Let a woman speak. Nobody wants to listen to her. That'd be one of the best ways that they could have cloaked the messenger called Isa. All right, and send her as a woman. But the whole point is, you're all being tested. All right, they try to tap in with some of you, and some of your family is trying to get in contact with you. And they got to do it in such a set amount of time. Some of you feel it. That time is up. You feel it, okay? It's one way or the other. They trying to destroy the earth plane so that you won't be able to inherit it. That's what your government is trying to do. And these other forces, interplanetary, and galactically, are trying to stop that from happening. Make sense? If it doesn't, just keep watching because they're going to keep disclosing. They have to.
Yeah. Yep. It's all coming out right now. All right. Well, that does it right there. Hey, man, this was a good one. This was another banger in the books, man. Hey, shout out everybody that's in here. We got like almost like 800 some people. Hey, everybody hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you want to show Faise some love on the Cash App, we got that already posted right there in the links. You can see that, pay for change. And also, don't forget about those 10 books that he got. We already showed you the flyer at the beginning of the show. For the people, he got the 10 books out. So you want to get those 10 books, what you do is just email or Cash App him to Play for Change. Make sure you leave your emails in the links. And also we have you can check out his new music. The links is in the descriptions. And if you ain't following him on Instagram, we got that up in the links. Right? So you want to check that out. And if you want to read the Holy Tablets by Dr. Malachi Z. York, the master teacher, for free, we got that in the links as well. All right, so we about to get up out of here, man. This was a good one. I ain't really sleepy right now, but I'm gonna go and watch this again right now and check it out, man, because this was some good stuff. All right, so we about to get out, man. Hey, y'all, Shalom Aleichem, Assalamu alaikum, peace
I
be unto
appreciate it.
you, right? Divine love throughout the boundless universe, Ashug, Wadu.
Well, I do.